Okay, so everybody that has been in Jiu-Jitsu for a long enough time knows that you have two basic types of attacks. They're either circular in nature or linear in nature, where they're a direct attack. The most effective defense for either one of them is the opposite. So if someone is coming at you in a direct attack, a circular type defense is much more effective than to meet force against force. And vice versa, if it's a circular attack, using a linear defense is much more effective because you get to the center of the circle quicker. So what we're going to do is a series of exercises to just strengthen that point, and then we'll take it the next step, and each of us will start to develop techniques. I'm going to teach some techniques, but I want you to learn that you can teach your own techniques and develop your own techniques based on what your opponent does to you. Okay? So the first, I'll borrow Byron because we've gone through this before, is in we're going to work on a direct linear attack first, and we'll use a circular type defense, and I'll show you why. So if he just reaches out, he's in a linear motion, and the force is coming into me. So for those of you who remember your Jedi training, you don't meet force with force, because all that happens is you fight each other. Whoever has the stronger force, both people lose, essentially. So you want to redirect, use your force and add it to whatever they're doing. Okay? So let's just say Byron grabs me and is going to pull me in for an attack with a straight punch right into my face. Okay? So now, if you use force against force, I'm just going to and muscle it in, and both of us are going to bang heads or bang fists, and it's just, you don't have to do all that. Okay, so as he pulls me in, I'm going to be foot to foot just to match up, and as he pulls me, I'm going to add my force. Only thing I do is I bring my hand up that splits his body, so as I rotate my hand, it will block whatever's to the outside of me. So as he pulls me in, I simply add my force and push in and spin and just move around, so it becomes circular in nature. I'm taking all of his force and adding mine to it, and I just throw him off. So we'll do it at about half speed. And all I did was a circular motion. Okay, so what I want you to do is just grab an opponent about your size, and we'll just do this as an exercise just to learn to move with your opponent. When your opponent pulls you or pushes you, you're going to move in a circular motion around that person. Okay? Any questions?
Say it again.
Say it again.
One more time.
Okay.
Unos.
I'm going to do it, turn it around so you can see it. Okay, so I'm going to match my feet for this exercise. I'm just going to have feet to feet. So he's got left foot forward, I have left foot forward. He grabs me with his left hand, he's about to hit me with the right. So my left hand comes up to split, so that if he throws that punch, I can deflect it by just rotating without having to use a lot of muscle. You can just deflect the force. This hand is just a palm. And so as he bends his elbow and pushes in, this comes up like that. I just push up because he's doing all the work. I just gently push up. And then I just spin my hip. It just throws his force past me. Okay, so all of his force is just simply redirected around me. And I take the center of the circle and he just spins out. Okay? Okay, so start it. First, just try that just to get the feel of it, to learn that you can just simply, don't fight that force, just add to it and run and spin around behind him. And then change hands, so you can do it left-handed and right-handed. And then we'll go on to the next. This is just a beginning exercise. Okay? Okay. So on the next exercise, what we're going to do is that we just did more of a linear to a circular. Now we're going to do a circular to a linear, just so that you understand again the concept. So now, in a circular attack, it could be a roundhouse kick, it could be a roundhouse punch or a hook punch or something coming from a circular point of view. And so the most traditional one, if you look on YouTube and look at street fights, you're going to see this attack where they come crazy and they just take that stepping roundhouse punch trying to knock you out. And their whole goal is for this to hit and you're out. Okay? Well, it's a very easy one to block.
Instant submission.
Okay? And so what we're going to do is a linear approach to this. Okay? This motion, if you look, takes a long time to get there. So if you just take the center of the circle going linear, you're going to be at the center of the circle long before he ever gets to where he's supposed to be. So this one is just an exercise. We're not going to go into some of the more advanced techniques yet. I just want you to focus on the concept. Okay? So when he does this crazy attack, I'm going to go straight in and stop it because I went right to the center of the circle and just his force was just redirected away and it just sent him away. Okay? So now, when he takes that stepping punch, all I do is I take a step right into the shoulder and block it. I don't even need to put my hand up because it's going to knock him away. Okay? For those of you who feel uncomfortable, you can put your hand up so that just in case. Okay? But you don't, if you do it correctly, that force is just going to dissipate as you do it. So all I'm doing is he's stepping and I'm coming in at a 90-degree angle and catching him long before he gets to me. Okay? So I just want you to focus on that. And all you got to do is we're the same footwork in here, and I'm here and I see this punch coming and I step in and stop it. Okay? This is a non-violent way of approaching this. It's just, I want you to understand that a linear attack will stop a circular attack much more effectively. If he was throwing a spinning back kick or something like that, which I don't think you can do. But is there anybody in here in karate that's real? Can you do a spinning back kick?
Straight or circular?
No, a circular one. The same spinning type thing is the whole defense to that is you just step in and hit him in the middle of the back. Is you go right to the center of the circle. It's the same defense. Because they're coming around, you just have to step into the center of the circle. Okay? Any questions? Okay, yeah.
Let me have one with your back to me and firing off this side.
Okay. Okay, so then this is what I want you guys to do, is I want the person that's coming, make it a street type of attack and kind of commit to the attack, and the person just steps through and should open hand, hit right here in the soft spot so it doesn't hurt anybody. Okay, if you really wanted to hurt them, you can hit a little lower, hit them right in here and you can break things, but you just want to straight arm out with a good solid balance as you do it, and it'll knock them right off their feet. You'll see it when it's done to you. You'll feel you just lose your balance. Boom, you knock right off. Okay, grab a partner. Okay, so now that we have the concept down, does anybody have any questions with respect to the concept itself? Okay, so what I want you to learn from this in the next hour is that if you're studying your opponent and they're going to do a linear attack, focus on how am I going to use a circular defense though. Okay? So whatever technique you create or have learned, you will find it so much more effective if you don't use circular defenses to circular attacks or linear defenses to linear attacks, because that's force against force. Okay? And if you use the opposite, it just works in your favor, because then all of your force is added to their force. Okay? So let's take what kind of attack, does anybody have any specific attacks that they would like to see, linear versus circular? Any?
Don't know sequence.
Yeah, don't know like people runs right. All right, Steve, I'll borrow you. So now we worked on the grab and punch. Okay, that's a street fight type thing where someone grabs you to intimidate you, and then they just pop off and hit you, and you just throw them to the ground without actually injuring him. Okay, so another one is we're going to work on the boxer, okay? So the boxer is going to be out there with the jab, and that's a linear type attack, okay? So we can use a circular or deflective type defense to offset that opponent, okay? And what you want to do is, this is usually, if he's in this stance, he's usually got the power hand behind. And the left hand is a jab, and very powerful, the jabs are very powerful. You get knocked out with a jab if you don't pay attention. But the big power is usually the right cross when it comes across with full power from behind. If it hits you square, you're going to go down most of the time, or at least get your head jarred. So what we want to do is, as the force comes out, we need to redirect this force. Now, I've taught you this concept before last year. Some of you may not know this, but I'll show it quickly. Is as it's coming out, if I strike the forearm at 20 degrees, just like he's throwing the punch, I throw the punch, it just deflects the force. So if I move it 6 inches here, I only have to push about 2 inches here. That's strictly physics. So I don't have to put a lot of effort out to deflect the force. Okay? And if you look at old Ollie fight films, that's why he almost never got hit. Because he'd have his hands down here, and they'd throw the punch, and he'd be doing this. And they could never figure out, how come these guys can't hit Ollie? And he was just popping their hands. And all he was doing was hitting them at an angle. He was using physics to do it. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to apply this in Jiu-Jitsu. So he has a linear attack, it's coming, okay? And we can either do a strike. Now karate tends to come in a circular type motion, okay? They tend to block it this way. That's a standard block. Is they'll do this or they'll do that and come across this way. Again, it's a circular type motion, okay? So karate also uses that same concept. If it's linear, use circular. Okay, so here's what I want you guys to practice. So he throws the jab. We're going to block it and catch it, and using a circular motion, take him right down. Okay, that was a nice one. You're a good one. All right, so he throws that jab. I want you to look at his balance for a moment. So as I punch, I step in and grab. When my push, I don't let go, and I push his hand out so I can grab with the wrist. And then I lock the elbow here, and then I'm going to bring this down to my waist as I roll and pivot. And he'll either come on his belly or roll like he did. Okay? Watch. Now let's look at his balance. Again, we'll do it this way. So he throws the punch, and block and grab, and step in and roll. Now what I'm doing is I struck, but I turn this and roll his elbow over so it forces his shoulder down. And then I apply pressure right here as I pivot my hip. Okay? And this time he rolled. In the street, they won't roll like that because they don't know how to fall. They'll fall on their belly. But if he falls this way, that's fine. I do birthday parties. Okay? Okay. Any questions? I mean, a lot of you may already know this technique. Let's just practice it for 5 minutes. Okay? Thanks. Any questions? Okay. On some lower body techniques, most people are deathly afraid of kicks. Actually, so am I. If they know how to kick, it's a tough thing to block. Okay. So who kicks? Well, you kick basically. Okay. So. Well, you're the karate guy. So. Okay, so we're going to just focus on kicks are mostly linear. Okay. We'll work on the basic linear kick first, which we're going to assume that he has 6 months of karate training, and he wants to really know.
So he's got a really good kick, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. He's had 6 months of training. Well, the problem is that there are those that don't learn karate. What I mean is that they don't learn the concept that it's an open hand technique really for defense only. Because that's what karate really is. It's not really offensive, and they learn it to try to use it for offensive purposes. So they have 6 months of training, and then they're out in the street, and they want to see if it works. And so what they're gonna do is, most of them are gonna use a snap kick or a thrust kick. The snap kick, for those of you who don't know, it's the front leg that comes up and snaps out, okay? And the thrust kick comes from behind and in. It's a straight kick, okay? So you have to use a linear defense. You can't use, you have to use a circular defense against it because it's a linear attack. If you use a linear defense, it's not going to be very effective, and it's going to be force against force, okay? So now if I'm standing here and he does a snap kick with the front leg, he's going to be kicking here to my groin, okay? So I'm here, here's my linear attack, is I simply come from the inside and roll, and I simply deflect the force, okay? Just so that it throws him off balance. This is what I want you to learn, go ahead. That's all I want you to do, is you're watching his body and you see him shift his weight, so you can see that that leg is coming out, okay? So you have to be 100% of your weight on your back leg and simply roll the hip and deflect it. All you're doing is protecting your groin and abdomen. So bring it up and just deflect. Don't go over here where it throws you off balance. The move is simply just a deflection, and then set your foot back, okay? So watch what happens from a defense. Now I've taken the center of the move because I deflected him out, and now he's off balance and moving away, and I move right into the center. Okay, let's just practice that move. Left foot, right foot, and the right foot is the same. Just put the front leg forward, and you're going to deflect this one. Put your right foot forward. So he stands there and he does a snap kick, and I just simply here. Now you can't be way out here to do it; it won't work. This is for any close. If you see that snap kick coming, you have to deflect. Hands are always up. The other thing about 6-month trained guys is this is the kick that they do. Watch my hands.
Oh, yeah.
The hands come down. I watch them all the time. I said, what is that? Just leaves them wide open. Most guys, they drop their hands when they're kicking. They ignore the defense side, okay? So that'll be an advantage. But let's just practice getting the control and balance of the circular deflect of the lower attack. Any questions? Okay, let's practice. Let's grab somebody. Okay, so you got the concept down. The whole concept here is don't lose your balance. It's coming straight in, deflect, and protect. That's the whole move. So you can practice this at home. Just practice this. Put the other front foot forward, practice this. Okay, now the thrust kick, which comes from behind, is a much more powerful kick, and it's not necessarily that easy to block this way because the force of it is much greater. You have to be in the right angle if you're going to use it, and it will work, but there's other things that work better. Okay? Okay, so Byron is going to be, he's got 7 months of training. He knows he knows that he can kick from behind now. Okay? And so he's going to do a straight thrust kick at my belt. Just trying to hit me right in the stomach and knock me out. Just thrust right through me. Okay, go ahead. So if I stand, go ahead and kick me. Okay, I can kick it. So if I just stand here, I'm going to get knocked backwards because the force is great. Even if I'm in a solid position, he's going to go through me. Okay? Even if I'm tough and I can take the kick. You don't want to do that because of the force. So now, there are several things to do. When you see it coming, let it go by and use a circular motion to catch the foot or spin around him. Well, we'll show some. Okay? When I see it coming, because the thing is, when the kick comes from behind, you can see the hip rotation, you can see it coming. What you need to do is, when it gets halfway, that's when your nails have to be dried. When you're having your nails done before you make the move. You have to wait for him to commit. Okay, because if you move too soon, he'll change. So I have to wait till he commits. Once he's committed to the move, you can move around him. Okay? So now what I was going to add to that is this. use a circular motion as you off-step and hook. Just catch the foot. You almost don't have to do anything, but in the traditional, in the big book and all that, is once you've hooked, you then simply drive through, which most of you don't want to take that fall, because it's an unpleasant fall. You go in full speed, you literally go flat back and fly into the air at about 3 feet off the ground and then plant. So you don't have to do that. Just practice the deflection. Here, and you can just drop it. Okay? So notice I'm lined up, I'm ready. I see him make a move, and I'm here. And of course I can strike here. It's a whole bunch of things. I just want you to learn the linear force. Just get out of the force and redirect it with circular motion. Any questions? Question over there? Okay. Try to grab someone different than you've been working with. Let's mix it up a little bit. The person that's kicking, don't kick from 10 feet away, because the person in the street's not going to throw the kick. They're going to throw the kick when they get close enough. So be close enough to actually throw the kick. Because if you start out here, I'm never going to throw this kick because I can't hit him anyway.
Stand and look at him.
Okay. So you got the person that's kicking. Make sure you can actually hit him. Okay.
Okay, now.
So we worked on
Colder?
the thrust kick. Now we're going to work on the roundhouse kick. You can do roundhouse, right? Basic roundhouse. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate the roundhouse kick.
Front leg or rear leg?
We'll do both.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you, for those of you who don't know how to do a roundhouse well, I'm going to teach you how to do it and how you can practice to get it better. But the way I learned it was you have to get the knee, the horizontal. Don't have it down here and try to kick around. It won't work. You have to get it up and around. The kick is supposed to come like that with the ball of the foot around like this, okay? So in order to do that, for those that don't know how to do it, hold on to a wall, grab your muscle, and force yourself to hold this position. Holding onto a wall, it'll force your muscles to learn that, okay? Now, because it's coming around, you have to either be outside the circle of influence or in the center of it, okay? So we'll work on the rear leg roundhouse. So he's coming around here, just like that. So if I stand there, you know, some of the karate schools teach this, but that's bone against bone.
It's bigger bone against smaller bone.
I know.
Baseball bat
And it
against
hurts.
twig.
I know, and it hurts, but I've watched them teach this in classes where they say, jam into it.
Yeah, and if he's actually got good roundhouse, you're going to the ground anyway.
Right.
And lose your weight.
So
Lose your arm.
that's not, you don't want to fight force against force, okay? You have become powerful, but you're not a Jedi yet. Okay.
Shucks.
So what you want to do is get out of the line of force. So here's what I want you to do. Again, it's a round. We use linear. Step in. Just straight in. Okay, now we'll add the hands and stuff next, but he comes in. Okay, now did you notice? He's got 7 months of training now. What did he do? He dropped his hands.
I'm trying to follow direction.
Just play the part.
So his face was wide open. So if we were in a real fight, I would step straight in and punch him right in the mouth because his hands are coming down. He leaves himself open for the attack. So for those of you that can do it well, I want you to try to do it well and kick around. And all I want the defender to do is, one, you keep this hand here at all times, just in case you're too slow. You have to have something there to protect. Because if you don't, and he catches you with the knee or something on the side of the head, it's going to hurt. If not, lights out. Okay? And I've seen people get caught with that knee spinning around, and they'd stepped in, but they stepped in right into the knee, and they caught it right on the temple, and then whoosh, down. Okay? You got to have this hand up. So you're here, boom, simulated strike to the nose. And all I did was, so linear, I'm using a linear strike. I step in and strike. Okay?
You got a decent angle? You want to
I'd like one with his back to me.
me kicking?
Back to you.
Oh,
Okay.
you're over there.
No, Mark's back to me.
He's,
All right, so we're here. Boom. Okay. And if you notice, I dropped this after I struck, and we were already out of danger. This comes down, ready for the counter. Okay? All right, any questions? Okay, so let's do circular roundhouse attacks as best as you can. And I want the defender to step straight in, right into the center of the circle.
quick note about roundhouse kicks. If you let your post leg, the leg that you're standing on, rotate so that your heel faces more towards them, it's much easier. If you try and kick and keep this foot pointing in the same direction, you're actually gonna hurt yourself.
Pivot on the ball.
If you let it rotate, you can bring your leg around much easier.
Okay?
Okay?
Okay, let's grab a partner again. You can come left or right footed, I don't care. That's Thomas. Thomas, don't catch that roundhouse. Because what's going to happen is they can spin it and kick it higher, and you're going to get hit in the head. Keep that hand up for block.
How many times is it going to go through?
Oh, no, next.
The whole line, and then you're up next. Get back up a little bit, Mark, I'm sorry. Thank you. And then back toward,
Why don't you over here?
yeah. That's good.
Where's the spear?
Jeez!
Oh, you got your toe. I was aiming for it, really.
I could tell.
Sensitive.
Vice versa.
What about a
This one.
Tomonagi? It's like both linear.
No, actually, it's not.
Circular.
Omanagi is circular, that's what it means, circular.
Literally.
Omanagi is a circular
Yeah,
defense.
yeah.
So when someone's coming, there's a linear attack,
Uh-huh.
and you create a circular defense. You simply roll in front of them.
With a tackle.
What?
With a tackle.
Okay, the linear attack. Okay, so I'll use Mark. So he's going to be a football tackler, and he's coming at my leg. So we'll do the slow motion for a minute so you understand the concept. Over here? So as he comes down, if you notice, he's about to get me in straight linear. If I come this way on his body, I start to spin him, and then I pivot 180 degrees at the same time. What's going to happen is he's simply going to roll right over and just do a forward roll, even if he almost has my legs. In fact, to do this correctly, you want them to think that he's, oh, I got him. You want him to have that I got him attitude just before he rolls on his back and doesn't realize what happened. Okay? So as he kind of comes at me, I simply sit back and roll, and I pivot. So it's a linear defense, excuse me, a linear attack, circular defense. Okay, now, there are several variations. Just put your head down. Either push up on the shoulder and push down so it rolls him like this. That's the least violent way. If this was a real street, if it's just your friend screwing around, that's an easy way to do it and it won't hurt him too badly. If you're on grass or something. But if this is a real guy trying to take you down and he knows 3 months of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you don't want to go down to the ground. Okay? So here's what I do, is instead of the shoulder here, I put my hand right there on the head and I force his head down as I roll him. And then I happen to have him right where I want him. Okay? So let's just practice that one for a second. So he's going to come at me and I push his head down. And then I'm right behind him. Okay? By pushing the head right down, it forces him to roll right up in front of you. Okay? So let's practice that one. The attacker, I want you now, I'm going to teach this technique also. This is the football tackle, okay? And more of a jiu-jitsu takedown is this, where you come down, come from behind the ankle, and grab and try to drive him down. Okay? That's more of a takedown. Either one is okay, but the football tackle is the one we're working on. If you're really trying to take someone down, the football tackle is not the best way to do it. You want to grab the ankle and push him down from behind. Okay? All right, grab a partner and let's practice that.
Now you
Do
are.
this slow motion. Okay, so as he comes in for the attack, I want you to focus on right here. Put your hand right at the base of the skull and right there, and don't grab. This is not a grab. Just open hand right there and apply pressure. Open palm. Don't grab the arm. Just kind of like right in the shoulder. And I want you to force him down and over and maintain control so that you're right behind him so you can do a choke. Okay? That's what I want you to practice. If you put your hand palm down right at the base of the skull and push his jaw into his chest and cut under the shoulder and roll him over and maintain control, he's going to be sitting right in front of you. And you can just drop right behind him and choke him out. The choke is optional. I just want you to learn the positioning to force his body to be where you want it to be. Okay? All right, so let's practice that. Yeah. Okay, so we push palm down, right on the head, and then we roll him over, and he comes right up into position. Okay? Just like that. Demonstrate that, because a lot of people were a little sloppy in that. Let me borrow Paul again. Okay, so I'm going to do it both directions. Okay, so I'll do it this way so you guys can see it. Yeah. So when he comes in, I grab here, palm up, but I'm hooking with my thumb. Okay? And I push his head into his chest. And then with his little momentum going forward, I simply roll him over. But I'm still holding him. So I force him up and I push his head down so that he forces back against me. As soon as he does, he opens up his neck and I simply choke him. He does all the work because he's fighting me here. I'm pushing and my hand's ready, and as he pushes back, it slides right in. He does it for me. I don't have to fight for his neck. Okay, let's do it this way. Push down. See? When, in real life, that's exactly what happens. If I push his head down, he's going to fight back and try to get back. And I'm going to slide right in because he just opens it. The only way to get his head back is he's got to put his neck up. Okay? Okay. Checkmate, right. All right, any questions?
What's the definition of a bully?
Did you say bully or bullet?
A bully.
One that picks on somebody weaker than them.
To make themselves feel good.
The insecure person who picks on something that knows who they are.
Great definition. Do we run into bullies every day?
Yep. Anybody who's trying to intimidate.
I like that one. Anyone who tries to intimidate. Which leaves a lot of things.
Covers a lot of stuff.
Covers everything, right? It's just not one-on-one. It could be
Verbal,
situations.
physical.
Right. So I'll take an example, the lowest level. Something comes on TV that shows all these puppies and kittens starving and being abused. That's shock. Treatment to shock you. Oh my God, to look at that. I didn't want to see that. I don't want to see that. So what do I do?
Change the channel.
Wow, you just got it hangry. Yeah. Let's take another example of a low level. Anyone? Low level bully. I get one.
If you could just stay in the middle rather than,
I don't think.
or just restrain it for 2 or 3 minutes.
Fuck that.
I said
Bully.
bully, yeah, right here. Yeah. It's because you got a camera over you.
Salesperson?
What?
Salesperson?
Yes. That's a good one. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, sir. You just won $1 million.
Would you like to see this as your review?
I just need your credit card number and.
Hang up.
Oh, look at her.
I'm good at that one.
She's good at that.
Double points.
I like talking to him. I like saying, You know what? You bothered me at an inconvenient time. May I have your home number and I'll call you back? Oh, no, sir, I can't give you my home number. Well, you're calling mine.
You got mine.
Yeah,
Now you're bullying him.
that's right.
Anyone that assumes that you're going to follow the rules of society, the conventions of society, and they can step just outside of that, they expect you to behave, and they're going to not behave at the same level.
Right.
You just described the entire US government.
Yeah,
Careful, careful.
it could be someone imposing their will or whatever on you that's unwanted, basically.
No,
I have extra batteries you can borrow.
That's a good one. So let's take it up like even a higher level bullying. It's not life-threatening, but it's still threatening. Any example?
It's the time-wasting, non-stop talker.
Right, that's a good one. And how do you handle that, dear?
How you going?
I have an appointment I have to
I hope no overs him.
Oh,
How about the frat boys hazing the new kids?
that's going into the physical realm. That's like it's like the TV to physical, actual physical violence.
The coworker who never does anything but complains that you didn't do something.
Yeah, in my other class, it happened to be either coworkers or bosses.
The drivers on the road that tailgate everybody till they get out of their way and weave around and
Right.
honk their
How do you
horns
handle
and scream
them?
at people.
How do you handle it?
Pull over, let them get out of their way.
And driving
Passive, right?
Pass, lower.
Oh, gee, he's aggressive.
I put my hazard on.
That's the little stick button.
So what I like to instill in my students is confidence building. And to teach someone confidence, is that practical? Can we teach confidence to our students
We can demonstrate it.
in a 2-hour seminar?
Well,
How long does it take? Do you feel confident at your belt level? Self-defense?
not 100%, no.
Do I?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do too. I question it sometimes, but
I think that's normal, and I'd be a little worried if I didn't, you know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, but no, for the most part, I don't.
But it's still something the student has to accept. It's hard to teach it if they're unwilling to actually accept it.
So you have that timid student,
So you have to continue to encourage and
right. You can't give it to them.
no, if they're not willing to accept it, then
Right.
there's no way you can give it to them.
You put them in situations where they actually take it for themselves. I mean, they have to experience it and be in situations where they see themselves succeeding.
That's why our tournaments are so good. It gives them a chance to get out. and
Yeah,
prove
ours is about the only
themselves.
format that puts that stress situation on
Yeah,
someone.
they can do it, they can walk away from it and go, hey, I think I did pretty good with that. So I like the,
Okay.
tournament is a good confidence builder.
I have an example of confidence in bowling. A woman came up to me, a friend of ours, and said, they keep parking this hearse in front of her house and she doesn't like it. She was fighting cancer at the time. She goes, what would you do, Steve? She goes, you probably get out there with your sword and puncture all the tires and shotgun blow the windows out. So she was asking for help. And I said, no, I would kindly put a note on the car and I would explain my situation. They didn't know. I'm fighting cancer, seeing this in front of my house depresses me. I would appreciate it if you would move that car. She didn't seem like that type of personality that would do it, but she asked what I would do. She did it. And the people moved the vehicle. You know how much that empowered her? Speaking up for herself, doing something, and actually getting the result. April? Hey, baby.
Hey, get away from me. Hey, get away from me, I don't know you. Hey, you know, I don't want to shake your hand. No, I don't want to shake your hand. Get away from me.
You know you're gonna hear the B word right after that.
Get off of me! I don't know you! Get off of me! Get away from me! The door right there.
Honey, get out here. I want you to do the same thing. Why not?
Oh, because we had an agreement that I could just come and watch, right?
No, but I'm changing it.
Nope.
Bully.
Nice
Changing
try,
it?
though.
That's right.
Richard.
Oh, that was good. Who's hurting her? Okay, Betsy's not going to come up here and do this after I've given, how long have we been training?
2.5 years maybe?
So she's had some good training. And what did you notice about the situation?
She was
Any
loud.
observations?
Loud
She was loud.
and confident,
And what about her techniques?
open hand.
They were simple and direct.
Nothing like a good poke in the eye. Just nothing like it.
Oh, yeah. I like your ones you taught me. So expecting someone off the street to come in here, take a 2-hour lesson, have the confidence to go out and protect themselves like people just did. Pretty unrealistic. So you have to build confidence from the beginning. I like doing that with my students. I like teaching them verbal. And I like teaching them to press, what I call press the go button. I got so close, what did she do? She gave me a preemptive strike. She protected herself. It was verbal.
Awesome.
Let's play around with a couple of things. Right here. You don't know me. You don't trust me. And this is a situation. I don't want you doing any techniques. I just want to see what you do. Hey, babe. Let me shake your hand.
Hi. Who are you? I don't know you.
Oh, come
Stay
on.
back. I don't know you.
Be cool. Be
Keep it-
cool.
Just, I don't know you. Just, you're invading my personal space. Stand back. I don't know you. Stay back. I mean it.
Hey, dude.
Yeah, what can I do for you?
Hey.
What you need?
Shake my hand, man.
You want money? What do you want?
Oh, come on. Please, I just want to be a friend.
You got germs, man.
Honey,
Join the party.
hey, baby. Shake my hand. Whoa, what was that all about? Preemptive strike. Good one, good one.
Should have said, yo, dude.
I know where you live.
So, let's all get up and just do a couple little role plays. We won't even call it assault, we just call it a situation. Someone's coming up, tried to shake your hands. How would you handle it? Go ahead, just play with it. Try a couple of minutes. So when everyone got up, I heard Sensei's voice, and I definitely heard your voice. And that's what I was looking for. And that's what I try to teach my students. If Betsy, you two, we can do the shake hand.
Am I shaking her or is she shaking mine?
You're shaking her
You
hand,
shake my hand.
and wait until I step out.
Oh, why? Oh.
Okay, I'll explain.
Yeah, but this is at a business conference. They gotta shake hands.
Now, honey, you know I'm out here, but you want to get my attention. Go ahead.
Hey, sweetie.
What?
Hey.
Hey, I don't know you. Hey,
I just want to be friends.
get off. Get
come
back. Get back.
Stop it. Wonderful.
Loud enough for you?
I heard you. I was ready to roll.
What's your
So I take my students, and when I'm showing them the verbal aspects of self-defense, I started working with some little kids. And I started teaching them, saying, you're not my mommy, and I teach them how to run, get away, find the exits. And like, we should teach all our students that. Get that verbal thing out. And that's a confidence builder too. And I do that, I'll step out away and I say, oh, now I heard you. Now you got my attention.
And I just want to make one point about being verbal, make yourself heard, draw attention to yourself. It really doesn't matter what you're saying, as long as it's loud, it can draw somebody's attention, and possibly somebody will interact. Unfortunately, what's taught in a lot of self-defense classes is they say yell fire. That's okay, but number one, it's not natural. It's not what's going on.
Right.
You know, saying no, don't touch me, get away from me. That's what's happening. That's what you should be saying. It's just noise. And that actually tends to work better because I have not seen any statistics anywhere that prove that yelling fire is any better than just yelling no, don't touch me, or get away from me.
I love what you did, and this is what I teach my students. The magic words for a bystander.
Which is?
I don't know you. Real simple. Because my first thought, I see a man and a woman or anyone having a little whatever, it's not my business, because they know each other. Right there sends the signal, I don't know you. I'm like, something's up. And that was really good, I like that. And that's what I teach my students too. Now this is just an example. You could probably create your own scenarios, your own situations. And you get a lot out of what your students do and how they react. Let's take another scenario. Let me get you up here, stand in line. And this is the box office, and you're the ticket guy, and you've been standing in line for what is it, Iron Man 10? Oh my God, you've been in line, what, 4 hours?
2008.
You camped out overnight. What are you talking about?
Twilight 3.
Okay. Now, this is a situation that's happened to me a couple of times, and I want to see how you guys would handle it. Wait, get back, all the way back to here, and you say, get back. Back, all the way. Okay, the line is open.
Do I get to make an announcement?
Hey, excuse me.
Okay, we've got one
Excuse me.
ticket. One ticket.
No, that's my turn. Excuse me, sir. There's no waiting in line, I'm sorry.
I know this guy.
No, sorry, you have to wait in line. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Don't get in line. Wait in line, right there.
Okay, budget.
Oh, buddy.
Sorry,
The treadmill doors, actually.
Okay, this section right here. And Betsy.
Now this I go.
You're just bystander.
No, I'm bystander.
Are we in line again?
You're in line again. And they open up.
Yo. I was all right here. Excuse me.
We're sold out.
You want to
I just
I don't know you.
Yeah.
I don't know you.
You can go home, there's no tickets to it. Whoa, okay.
Well then.
I didn't see it, what happened?
We ganged up on him.
We ganged up on him.
How many
He was going to hold him, I
times
was going to hit him. Yeah.
have you seen that happen? No one says it.
Over and
Many
over
times.
again.
People don't want a confrontation.
Airport.
Exactly.
Most people won't do confrontation.
But you might have that little 90-year-old lady.
No, actually, this very thing happened when I was in Stansted Airport in London. Huge line, everybody waiting. Of course, they only had one person checking people in. That gigantic line. We've been waiting in line for 45 minutes or so, and they opened up another queue. And so, being good English people who queue like crazy, everybody kind of split into two right at the end there, and we all waited in line. And some bozo comes out of nowhere and gets in line on the second queue, right up in front. And, you know, there's probably 200 people behind me. And there were people around me like, oh, I can't believe you did that. And his wife, of all people, said to him, honey, don't you think that we should get in the back of the line? He says, well, they opened this new line here, so I'm just going to stand here. And so I just stood out and said, you could stand in line like the rest of us. And he went,
Ryan, what happens if people don't want to be rude?
he was awfully boisterous about it.
What would the difference have been, though, if you were 6'5", 300 pounds with tattoos? I
Exactly.
mean, most people in a movie line would say, well, good Lord, it's a huge theater. What's the point of confronting this guy?
Confronting, right.
Just, I mean, I don't want to get my butt kicked over one place in line.
I was going to come to that point, and I'm glad you pick your situations where you can be, what's a good word?
Where you spin the blue chip.
Effective.
Say it louder.
Assertive.
Good one. Be assertive. Okay, a couple of situations. We're waiting, we went standby to go see O. Nice show, Vegas. Where we stand, like a couple hours. And a guy blatant, that's in front of us, ready to buy the tickets. And this is what I did.
Just trying it on.
No, stand. I'm not done. Hey, buddy. You weren't in front of me.
Oh, no, you didn't see me. No, I just went to the
You
bathroom.
were not in front of me.
No, man, I was right here. I swear, dog. Okay, that's cool. I'm still in line. Next person's not going to keep crap.
So, what happened to the two guys?
I like
They
it.
gave up. So I had to get a little physical. I didn't do anything when we did the scenario. I heard the verbal stuff, I just ignored you. But as soon as you tapped my shoulder, and I can't remember who,
It was me.
tapped my shoulder, got my attention.
Because most of the time I've seen it, they'll just ignore you. You go, hey, yeah, hey, they'll just tune you out. But,
So you're using audio,
yeah,
vocal.
and if that doesn't work, I'm going to escalate.
People that always approach me for change if I'm in a bad part of town at a gas station or whatnot, I think eye contact is a big thing too. I mean, you just know and just look them straight in the
Look 'em right in
face,
the eye.
you know, and that tends to be, ooh, no.
Next one.
Thank you.
My sister ran into somebody like that who wanted money.
What day is it?
They were asking her for money in a restaurant or something, and she just looked him straight in the eye and said, you know, my red flags are all up about you. And I kind of,
Oh, I like that.
stopped it.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm going to borrow these two chairs. Give me that t-shirt. Let me move the chair over here where you're standing. Scenario, bus stop, park bench. Sit down. Now, if I've done this with you before, let me know, because I've used this scenario before. I want you to give it a opinion. This is the scenario. Let's see what happens.
Excuse me, sir. Get your hand off of me. Who are you? Get away from me. Dude! Stay away. Thank you.
Get your hands off my stinking thighs.
Dude, what's up with that?
You weirdo?
Hey, Brooke.
Stop touching me, you pervert!
Wow, everyone did really good. I'm surprised. I've done this in other dojos. I've had elbows to my throat. I've had groin shots and eye gouges and throws. But what was the level of the?
Yeah, that seems a little
Yeah, it's excessive.
excessive.
What did everyone do right?
Just simply, they got up and moved.
They confronted
Confronted loudly.
Especially like the name calling, because
A
then it
pervert.
publicizes, I'm not a pervert.
Again, draws
Just as
attention.
good as
If
you're
she
not.
were out there in the swing set and she was loud enough, wouldn't we all like?
Yeah. It's like what I did last year with get your hands off my child. For those of you who remember last year's
That
camp.
was awesome.
So that's a good thing to play in your dojos and just see the reactions of maybe 2 or 3 people. And then you can get them up and have them practice being vocal, bring attention to the situation. I'm moving a long way too quick. I was hoping to have more white belts in here because we could really mess with them. I need a knife.
I can mess with people.
In the box, there should
Won't
be
be from
none.
anybody who
No,
traveled.
Green box.
Can you imagine what it took to cut that video and put it on this one?
Why, I have several. Which one would you like to choose from?
I think I've done this one in a few dojos, maybe
You shake
a
that.
few around here.
I'm okay. I just want to have it.
Actually, you're out here. You're the host of a party.
Am I sitting, standing?
You're standing.
Hosts
and-
never sit down.
And people are arriving in your home. And this is the actual layout of the home. Doors here. And this is the main entrance here. Stand right here. Okay, turn face the wall. I need 4 volunteers. This way. Along this side.
I'm facing this way. So these people are in my house?
We know
Your house now.
You've invited them into your house.
It's okay, you're alone for the moment. You're watching Jujitsu or something, you're away, so.
You're putting the hors d'oeuvres
Yeah.
together.
But they're not on the list.
Oh, you
You've got some wild parties. I'm just telling you, got wild parties coming.
First, you're going to go in and greet him and say hello. Knock on the door, he opens the door.
Knock, knock.
Hey, Fat Jack, how you doing?
Good to see you, long time no see.
Hey, man, thanks for
Hey,
inviting me to
Henry.
this party.
Yeah, no problem. The rest are strangers. How you doing? My name's Steve. Nice meeting
I
you.
don't know you. I don't know you. This is my home. Okay. I'm fine for you. Hey, hi. Who are you? Oh, you got a knife. Sweet.
Okay. Okay, same group. At the time, you're
Yeah, you can't be the host anymore. Let's go.
That's because they all want to do
This is Joe's typical pre-party
Okay,
meeting.
this is more, looks like it's an open house, and you're a real estate agent, so everyone's a stranger, but you have to put on your
Happy race.
or whatever they call it.
Sales space.
Okay, knock on the door.
Knock, knock, knock.
Hey, how you doing? How do you like the?
Okay, Monte. We can cut the cake now.
I was looking for that. I like it. Oh, thanks.
April, you're the host.
You guys are really different.
I'll take that.
You don't leave it.
No, I thought that was great. Okay, thanks.
Same thing, real estate agent. This is a house setup. Those are the doors. Go.
Morning.
Is this house for sale?
Oh, yes, come on in, come on in. No problem.
I want to look around.
Thank you. Hi. What's that
What? What? What?
Well, if he's got a gun, I'm leaving.
So what have you done? Well, look at the time.
So you did it. You brought attention to the situation that there was a knife, but you stayed there.
He also took your knife.
You took the knife,
offered it up.
but no one back here heard, and you stood there. And then all these people back here saw you. And that's why they all left.
That's agent.
I'm actually fine with
Actually, we were looking at your knees at that point.
Are we on the street?
So what did April do right?
Draw attention to it.
And then got out of the way. Got away.
Split.
Dragon.
It's hard.
What did you know about her house?
She knew where the exit
Exit.
was.
I'm sorry, it's our house.
I kind of did this in the evade and escape.
This is the way I handle it. When you have a knife. What do you do, bring a knife to the
But this is a little scenario I found in one of the books I was reading, and it's just wonderful because it shows you awareness of your situation. It shows you using verbal. You don't have to do a full-on technique. I did this in one dojo, and everyone did these introductions. Boom, take your knife, put it on your gun. Beautiful moves, but no one said anything. No one ran.
Can I add one more? We only saw him with a knife, but you're going to jail. Seriously.
Yeah.
Nobody else saw what happened. They just saw you slice my throat.
It was actually your belly.
Well, whatever. But you're going to jail.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to know.
You're arrested, you probably won't.
And saying,
This is spoken from someone from Virginia.
Yeah,
You'll be
we come from a
questioned,
state
so you
where
won't
you
go to
can
jail.
carry loaded weapons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
has anyone heard of the odor loop?
Who?
O-O-D-A?
Oh, over there.
Yeah.
Oda.
Oda.
I thought you meant smell.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Oh, but you knew it.
Loop?
Observe.
No, what is it?
Got it. Good one. Observe.
No, I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's observe something to act.
Okay.
And I can't remember. Disarm, probably.
Comes out, I observe. I orientate. I decide he's a threat. And my action is to be in a defensive position. Takes a while. You could use it in any situation. He clenches his fist, right? I observe he's clenching his fish. It's good.
Here's the fish fight. I have a fish right here.
I'm orientated, I'm going to move out of line. I decide he's probably going to have to take a step to do a haymaker, and my action is to go straight for a circular. So there's a long process. April. Turn around. I don't want you doing any technique on me yet. I'm a predator. Where was my overload?
Yours or hers?
Mine.
You observed her standing there vulnerable with her back to you, you know. And then
You chose her over all the rest of us. You decided that she's your preferred prey. You looked for someone who wasn't looking in the right
Do
direction.
you think all that went through my mind? I'm a predator.
Yeah,
so,
successful
I
predators
go
do.
straight to action. I just do because I'm a psychopath.
Perhaps.
Oh.
Although I've seen what I thought was a very interesting study. They took video of people just walking down the street, and they showed it to in prison to the rapists and the people who were there for assault. And they said, which one of these people, or how many of these people would you pick? And 100% of the time, they picked the people who had already been assaulted.
But the
So
difference,
they know.
yeah, I know, but the difference is the predator doesn't realize he's doing it. He
Mhm.
does it subconsciously.
Yeah, it's
and
not
he
a
just
conscious
goes down.
process.
Whereas you, as a defender, you have to go through the process.
You have to go through
That's
the
the
process.
That's the
Absolutely.
difference.
Right.
He's doing it, but he's not even aware he's doing it. That's.
So what if my thought process says,
Go get it.
they don't look so bad.
You don't have to
Okay,
meet the target.
stand up. You're going through your loop.
Yep.
How many techniques are you thinking
Oh, I had
about?
half a dozen flash, yeah.
Okay.
It changed as you got closer.
Okay. Don't look at me yet. Okay, here it goes. How many techniques?
2 or 3.
I think you got it. How many techniques?
None. I was only thinking which direction I'm gonna move.
That's your technique.
Yeah.
Was not thinking technique. Because I don't know what he's gonna do.
It might be,
Yeah.
okay, I can't.
My only thought is, do I go left or right? You know, where's the door? Which way do I move?
My thoughts are survival. You start clouding your mind with a lot of other things. It'll slow your reaction down from the mind going to the hand and figure out what to do.
Because as soon as you start thinking of techniques and you decide on one, it'll be the wrong one.
Always.
Can I ask a question? Why didn't any of them use any verbalization?
Did you notice that? Isn't it, honey?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can break their train of thought by asking them questions.
Off track.
Okay.
What's wrong with you? Took that out of the.
Did you see her facial expression? That's from years ago. Those eyes, it's stop.
But I was still in the observe stage. I wasn't in the action.
Yeah, that loop is going. Action! Stop! So just a little tidbit, you can change up your situation, you can, give your class this and just see how they react. People react differently. And I've learned a few things from what you have told me. Let's talk about courage and brave. Are they both the same or one and the same?
I wouldn't put it in the same.
Yeah, not necessarily. But most people have the wrong idea what courage is anyways.
Courage is kind of like self-confidence.
Yeah, but most people have this idea that courage means that you're fearless. And that's
You could go to the extreme.
yeah.
Yeah. The definition I liked about courage is that you're afraid, but you do what you have to do anyway.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Thank you. So me and Betsy were talking about courage and
Well,
brave.
courage is the more internal thing, and bravery is whatever action you take because of it.
We kind of like that.
That's fine.
It makes people start thinking. So I have the courage because I've worked on developing my inner tiger with small things and building up more and more, being more courageous to be brave in my actions down the road in situations. Let's just bring this up. A woman comes to class, she had been assaulted or raped or something like that. She has a lot of psychological problems, and she wants you to help her. She's coming to your class. What do you tell her?
First want to know if she's been to see a counselor. If that's, something that's been clear,
Why can't you counsel me?
because I'm not qualified to.
Well, you're a martial artist.
That's a different thing.
Wonderful response. Perfect.
What was the question and response?
Well, if somebody who'd been assaulted came to class and
Okay.
wanted to learn self-defense because they'd been assaulted, and they were obviously still kind of dealing with it, my first question is going to be, are you working with a counselor? Because
Okay.
I can help them with the external, some part of the internal as well, but I'm not a counselor. And so he said, well, why didn't you, can't you help me with that? I said, well, I'm not qualified to.
Well,
It's not my remit.
people come take martial arts for different reasons. Some for the exercise, some.
Probably half of my students come for a very specific reason. It's something that's happened to them. And I don't ask unless they choose to tell.
Mhm.
If there's obviously some other problems there, then I have to deal with them in another way. We'll talk offline or something, and I'll send them to somewhere else. I've had males come in who basically are predators who want to learn how to be a better predator.
Whoa.
And that, Bruce Jones taught us how to deal with that early on because of the way he was extremely sensitive to that.
Well, I'd like to hear more about that. How's my time?
You got 2 minutes.
12 minutes. Okay. Let's get up and everyone play with the loop. Where assault with the fist up 1 notch, where they step into the range of effectiveness. Right there. And see how you handle it without the attack. And the handshake is going to be, because we have muscle memory reaction when someone puts their hand out, but it's too late. But the assault hasn't happened, or maybe it'll happen. I want to see how you handle it. So let's start with the handshake first.
You need evil.
Okay, I've seen some really aggressive ways of handling it, and I've seen some really good ways of handling a situation like that. So this is what I observed.
Slap.
One was, it's too late. Why are you shaking my hand?
Because we're friends, we're good buddies. Don't you remember me from high school?
And then I saw this. Why are you shaking my hand? Let go, please. Let go. They took control of the situation and they moved to the vulnerable side. See their hand here. I can control his body. And I could feel what's going to happen. This, I think I saw you put a C grip here.
I grabbed the thumb.
Oh, you grabbed, oh, what, you went overboard.
Yeah.
Things haven't happened yet. Oh, you did, you
No,
just,
I took control, I just took control, I just held his thumb
oh, yeah, okay.
as we talked.
So you attacked.
Oh, I just.
Control. Yeah, yeah. So, let's do it again.
There you go.
Oh, that was really good. He just took the situation away.
What did he do?
What?
What if you're a 115-pound female and this is a 220-pound man?
It doesn't,
and
it
he
doesn't
let
matter.
go?
It doesn't matter. You just simply turn the hand and slip it out. Go ahead and get a good grip, get a really good grip.
I still think a 115-pound female can't do that. She's gonna have to be more aggressive.
Because you're working against the
If
weak
you go
point of the
against the
thumb.
hand, if you turn the hand,
Turn the hand, push against the thumb.
And literally rotate the hand out.
it pops right out.
It's our basic wrist release
Yeah.
technique.
So, you have no.
If you're gonna do it, let's do it in front of the
That's
camera.
And then your thumb pushes against theirs and pops right out.
You can't.
Steve, Mark, can you do it one more time, just so I can on camera, please?
And I
Hold on,
say,
just a second.
Okay. If you bend the wrist, if I grab you as hard as I can, push right there. Done.
Okay, demonstrate
The,
the handshake.
Hi, how are you?
Fine.
Yeah.
Don't know you, so let go now. You can let go. I don't know you.
This is fun.
No, really.
No, really. What? Boy, you went so pretty with you. But go.
Biting.
There you go. Monte, you and me.
Am I the aggressor?
No, I'm the aggressor.
Okay. Hey, you're back. Who are you?
Who are you? No, you've already.
Oh, I've already.
Came in.
Can I have my hand back now? Please?
I didn't see you do it.
Don't be gentle.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. I've already shaken your hand. That's enough. Get away from me.
Okay, everyone forgot the verbal. You said it. Someone out there wouldn't hear it.
Big and loud.
Big and loud. So let me see it again.
Hi. Okay, I don't know you. Let go. You can let go now. Stop. Hello.
Good. Let's raise it up a little bit. So, just something you give your students to work on. Let's talk about, we got more time than I thought. Action beats reaction. And we kind of touched on that a little bit, about the assaults and people closing distance. So, does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Preemptive strike. If
You read that! I want you not to read it.
I'm here to read.
He's like, I read that someplace.
No, I'm a firm believer. If they want to keep closing, I'll give them one warning. One. And then, just like yourself, I will do something to let them know that that's not going to work. And it may not be, violent, but it'll be something that'll make them think about what they're doing.
There's a misunderstanding about self-defense that, you can't hit someone unless they hit you first or try to hit you first. And that's a misunderstanding of even the laws of self-defense, that you have the right to do whatever you feel you need to do to defend yourself if you feel threatened. And when somebody, even intimidation, we talked about, it is a criminal act. And they have, just by intimidating you, threatening you, doing something that puts you in fear, they have already broken the law. So that means you have every right to do whatever you feel you need to do. So if you feel you need to hit them first, even though they have not hit you or even attempted to hit you, you're perfectly within your rights under the law to hit first.
Is that especially with threats of people saying they're going to hurt you?
Oh, yeah.
That's considered.
If they do, you have every right to
That's
take
an
them at their
assault.
word, that they mean that.
That's
And
criminal
you-
assault.
Yeah, that is intimidation, they have committed a crime at that point, and you are perfectly within your rights under the law to strike first.
But the law is
No,
not universally
always.
applied.
Not always
You
true.
need to be careful.
What you have to.
You need to be able to
Standards.
say,
Much more aggressive.
when the police show up, you need to be able to very clearly state
Very clear.
why
that
you
were-
did what
that
you
you were
did.
fearful. You were fearful that you were about to get injured, and that you felt you needed to react.
Court speak. So
You're-
it's something that they recognize.
One of
So make sure you have the stories.
the best criteria is if he continues to advance on you. If he continues to reach, he's actually doing a physical act even though body contact has not been made. If a person takes out a knife, that's a physical act of violence. They haven't stabbed you yet.
And plus, if you can say, I told him no 3 times,
Right.
and he still kept coming.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. There's your legal defense right there.
Okay, so let's go back.
You're safer in Canada.
Let's go back to action meets reaction.
In more ways than one.
What can you do in your life?
Fewer prisons.
Doesn't have to be self-defense situation to develop action beats reaction.
Stock earthquake supplies.
Wonderful.
In California, definitely.
Yeah, we just redid ours. We have kits in our cars at work, home, generators, solar.
Is this California?
Yeah, we have earthquakes then.
I'll give you a little scenario about helping someone develop action beats reaction. I was talking to someone shortly about, I swim for exercises because I tore my hamstring. I want to stay away from the rough exercises. It's good exercise, and this person said, oh yeah, swimming sounds really good. It's just, to do it, have to think about it, maybe I'll get out there. I said, why do you have to think about it? Just pack up your swim trunks and your towel and your slippers, put them conveniently where you're at. Just do it. That's what I do. Keep it in my work truck, move it into my personal. So, because I'm horrible about working out at the gym. So I just have to turn off the station F in my brain and just take the action. You can start telling your students, don't think about the diet, just do it. Don't think about hitting, no.
Just do it.
Well, part of the preemption too on these attacks is Joe is much less likely to get attacked, and anybody who's physically fit is much less likely to get attacked because they look less like a mark. And you also carry yourself with more confidence as you work out, keep yourself in shape. I mean, so there are other benefits from a self-defense perspective of just, you're carrying a calling card that says, I'm going to defend myself, or at least I have the air of that.
Is that why when Bruce Lee walked down 2nd Avenue in New York with $20 bills out of his pocket, nobody bothered him?
Probably.
Okay, I'm sitting, having a Subway in front of the store at a little table out there, and this woman's walking by, and I'm looking at her, and because I'm looking at people, and I'm thinking, who would I attack? Who looks vulnerable? That person talking on the cell phone, the person's unaware. This woman walks by, she sees me eyeing her. I'm wearing my company uniform. I didn't think I looked threatening. But she puts her hand on her mace as she walks by.
Awesome.
You're a bug. She's a bug killer.
You were showing your inner tiger.
She
was preemptive. That was preemptive.
She was ready to take action and not even think about it.
She took action.
She took action.
She took action.
She put her hand on her mace.
She warned you. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like,
Yeah, that's the slowest laugh I've ever.
What does your uniform look like?
Oh,
scary.
with
White stripe,
graffiti
black
writing,
stripe,
and
orange
I wear those
jumpsuit.
tattoo shirts.
It says
No,
laundry
it's
on the
where
back.
if she observed you observing, then that's why she did something. She saw you watching, and that's why she took action.
To a casual observer, she made the first move, though. Unless you did something, she looks like she reached for her mace to prepare to attack you.
So you could come up with little personal things that's happened in your life where you've seen something or where you've taken action to do something, and you just did it. To get someone up to teach April.
Oh, he's putting on the glasses.
So this is a technique. You're going to go, I'm teaching a class, or maybe a woman's self-defense class. So here's the weak point, is right between the thumb and the fingers. And this is where you want the release. And be relaxed. Not you, you're the attacker, don't relax. Real simple, you're going to think of saluting and stepping off to the side. And you're going to say, let go, I don't know you. So this is the situation. You're going to go, let go, I don't know you. And then you're going to rake your finger across the eyes this direction, not like this, because this will cover more area and protect your nice nails. So here's a technique again. I don't know you! Got it. See the technique I just showed it?
No.
Okay.
Yes. I did. I
So
saw
you're
that.
going to help her out. So grab your wrist. You're going to step offline, and as you do it, you're going to salute to your eyebrow. Right here. Just real quick, drop the elbow. Salute, and with the hand up, you go across the eyes like that and go up.
No, I'm not. You could try.
Go. Scratch the eyes. Nice. Scream. And out the door.
I'm not making fun of this civilian again.
That's what happens in women's self-defense classes, though, is exactly what you're doing. There's two different ways that I've seen people react, and one is to deal with it in a humorous way.
Right.
And then there's the ones that just shut down because they've been assaulted before, and they shut down.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I teach her the technique. I teach her to be verbal and to do basically preemptive strike. April. Threatening. I'm coming to you.
Step away from me. Get away from me. I don't know you. Get away.
Good job. What was her action?
There were several.
Yeah. Loud verbal, moving away, verbalizing, then finally.
I warned him.
Again, you weren't.
She screened him immediately to gain distance to make decisions, which was a good starting point, and after that, she had time to make her decisions.
She got everyone's attention and she just struck. Now, I didn't show her to strike for the eyes, but she kind of had a little thing in the back of her head from the previous technique. And that was her strike. So just a way of teaching your students. And you have all your own preemptive strikes as soon as someone steps within that range. I think you have 4 ranges, 5 ranges.
Yeah, 4 standing ranges,
Which were really good.
There could be complications to the way to the eyes. For instance, in a state like Virginia, we're really much more sensitive when we teach us. And one thing you can do is to say, I'm putting my fingers into his face to cause him to tilt back.
Right.
You can pick your friend, you can pick your nose, you can't pick your friend's nose idea. So if someone's going to rear back just by throwing fingers into the face area, don't say when you're talking to an officer, I raked his eyes, or I was trying to.
No, you don't tell them anything.
Yeah.
You just simply say, I don't know what I did, I just reacted, I don't even know what I did.
That's a really good answer.
I suggest you cooperate with the police fully.
Yeah, they don't like it when you don't cooperate.
Right, and they don't like it if they ever heard what we just said.
Yeah, I'm saying that for the benefit of the video camera for the moment.
But the thing is, if you can tell them exactly what you did, his immediate thought is, well, you must have had that planned. You must know something. So if you just say, oh, I don't know, it just happened so fast and I'm kind of flustered. I don't really even know what I did. I just reacted. And, I didn't even realize I poked him in the eye. I'm sorry. Did I poke him in the eye? Oh, I'm so sorry.
So we can play with this. So this is what I want. I have another 5 minutes. I'm very threatening. No, you're very threatening. You're coming up to me.
He's got long legs.
My brain fogs up what was that? O-O-O-A-A-D?
Yoda.
What was, oh my God. You don't have time.
Yiddish
You go straight to action. He comes up, very threatening. And I just, with my hands down, whatever move you want to do, preemptive strike before they get within range. And I want, back off, I don't know you! You could mix up your own strikes or how you want to handle the situations. Let's play with it.
And you visualize the technique and how the human body can move, and you say, no way. Okay. Then what you really need to do is say, okay, let me put the word right in there and see what we pivot the right foot back instead of the left foot back. And sometimes that visualization says, okay, that's the technique made, and Kirby screwed up and put a left instead of a right, okay? Or he went counterclockwise, he went clockwise and he should have gone counterclockwise. And those are the most common errors in here. And that's just so that you're aware. So what we're doing is we made it all the way up to technique number 605 yesterday. No, I'm only kidding. We made it all the way to number 220 yesterday. And so we're just going to continue on. And the way this works is that one person reads the technique, and I do it. Our official reader is here.
Official reader again.
And hopefully from the description, I can, my brain cells will connect, and I can do the technique. And sometimes what happens is the instructions are still wrong. So, feel free to make any notes you want on this. There will be a test at the end. No, but feel free to make any notes you want to make, because, like I said, these are my notes, but there are mistakes because I'm not perfect yet. Yes, sir.
Will we get, are you planning to issue a new version of the big book soon?
I am, but at this point, it will be probably not for another 3 years. Okay, because I want to be able to get through all this. And I'm not, as I make these corrections on here, they're already in the original big book. They've been changed. So when a 7th edition comes out, or whatever edition comes out, it'll have all these changes in it.
Can we get an interim draft that says draft across it or something?
You have it in your hands.
You have it in your hand.
This is not the big book.
No,
Those are the
No, but
corrections.
it's the corrections.
the corrections. These are corrections.
Okay.
So for technique number 221,
Substitute, yeah.
substitute this.
Got it, okay.
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 So if you want, you can cut it out and paste it in. Okay. And I just used yellow paper because yellow is easier to read than white. Okay. So that's it.
It's also easier to find.
It's also easier to find. Yes. I think one of the greatest crimes done to teachers was when they forced us to use only white paper for everything. And only the administrators can use, and I've seen it school after school, only the administrators can use colored paper. Teachers have to use white paper because it's cheaper.
Oh.
But you see, with kids, and if you've worked in the corporate world, you know that if you hand out different colors of packets, all the non-readers that are in your audience can find this stuff real fast. And it's say, get the blue packet, get the yellow packet, get the green packet. And that works a lot better than say, get the packet that says how to allocate resources properly when you're half asleep and trying to read this line and understand it. Okay? And then reading it, trying to find the correct piece of paper. And that's really rough on kids. Okay, so if you work with young people, if you use colored paper, do it. It's so much easier. Okay, same with adults. It's easier. Okay, so we're at 221, which is an elbow attack. Eiji Shiniwaza. That's a useless attack, but let's see what. Who wants to be on? Okay.
Does an elbow attack mean that he's attacking your elbow? Or?
It means
No, it's from a shoulder grab,
shoulder grab.
from behind his right hand.
Karate to his right elbow with your right hand. Let's see what
So
happens.
it's an elbow.
It's a
strike
striking elbow.
Okay, who wants to be Uki? Uke. Okay, you want to be Uke? Okay. Okay. So the attack is.
The attack is a shoulder grab from behind, his right hand to your left shoulder. Turn counterclockwise to your left, karate to his right elbow with your right hand as you step into your opponent.
Okay. This is a really dumb move.
On both occasions.
Okay, so I'm going to assume he's also going to pull because no one's just going to put their
He
hand.
turns which way?
Counterclockwise.
Okay.
Okay, so he's going to pull. I'm just going to come around. Now, if he holds on, it's going to work nice because he go down and maybe grab here and he put down. But if he doesn't hold on, what is it going to get you? Okay, so let's move on.
Punched in the face.
That's it?
That's it.
Turn around and hit him in the,
That's it.
I mean, there's not much. You've hit him once.
Then you go into.
No, it's just Hiji Shimiwaza, you know?
It's an elbow attack.
Attack elbow.
Attack elbow. Okay, so
Okay.
moving right along.
222.
We're not even going to waste our time with that puppy. I don't,
That's one of those partial techniques.
Right, yes.
You
Okay.
can add the word
222.
karate strike. I mean, add the word karate strike to the right elbow.
Yeah, because what's a karate?
This actually should be a knife. It should be a knife edge. It really should be a knife edge strike. If you want to be picky, it's a knife edge strike. Shuto. Shuto. Then you cannot go bang up. Okay, moving right along.
Okay, 222, forward finger throw, either te no hara or mayubi nage, from a waist grab from the rear.
Okay.
Grab the fingers from his right hand, which is on top for this description, with your right hand. Bend them back to secure release and pivot to his right side.
Didn't we do this one yesterday?
Yeah, but so far, it's gonna switch.
Switch fingers to your left hand and execute a forward finger throw, aka mayubi nage. To submit him, once he's on the ground, bend his fingers back and upward, back.
Okay.
Bend his fingers back and push forward and up.
You all know my nagi. Okay, so all we're going to have you do, we're not going to have you do the throw. Okay? You're going to be here. You're going to smash, get this person down, bring him around to here. All I want you to do, whether you grab this way or this way, I don't care. Okay, doesn't matter to me. Okay, as long as you get the fingers off, this hand is going to come inside. As you're coming around, let's turn you around. As you come around, you're going to come inside, bends his fingers back to switch and change your hands. You're set for a forward finger throw. Okay? Now, if you want to go forward, you can. Or if you want, you can step back and bring him down backwards. Okay, so you can play with this a little bit. Or take him sideways and drop sideways. Okay? Okay. You can see how low he goes before he doesn't move around anymore. Okay? Anyone need to see that hand switch again? I think that's what the intent of the technique is, to show that hand switch.
The elegant part of that is the way you came in with your hand like that, so that you
Yeah.
automatically take finger.
Yeah, you have, that's why we're showing it, because this has to come in between. If it tries to grab from outside, it won't work. You have to come in between, palm up. And you can do this wherever you want in this technique.
Does it say that in the technique?
No, it does not.
What is,
Yeah,
It
that's
just
probably why it
says-
was confusing, because
It just says switch fingers to your left hand
okay.
and execute forward finger throw.
Okay, so if you want to come up with a definition, and if you get a good definition that you think makes sense, send it to me. Okay? So it might be slide your left hand in between your and his right forearm, palm up.
Show hand, palm up,
Yeah.
slide into.
Slide behind your right hand, grab his fingers, let him go with your right hand. Okay. Now, do you want to come out and do this, or do you just want to?
Let's just go through it.
No, go to that.
Pardon?
I'm happy just to
Go through them?
make notes and.
Okay, any of you want to do this? I mean,
Is that something I've done about 5
Yeah,
years?
this is relatively simple stuff.
However, seeing you put that hand, oh,
Yeah, the
okay.
hand switches, yeah, if you want.
Where students have a lot of problems with on hand throws, which really is finger throws, is they have a tendency to pull. And what you need to get them to do is to get once you get the fingers back, put it down there, and you don't need to raise it upward because we don't do armpit checks. Once you get the fingers bent to a certain point, this person's shoulder will go up or forward, and that's when you can throw. Okay, they're off balance at that point. What you have to do once you reach that point is maintain that pressure. If you start to pull, you've released all the pressure. So it's the finger throw is actually a push rather than a pull.
Knuckles.
Okay, it's a push to the back of the knuckles. And so when you're working with students, that is the hardest thing for them to recognize. But once they do it once, they usually get it. Okay, next one.
Okay. Number 223, belt pull throw, obihiki nagi. Belt grab. Okay, okay, we got a typo there. Belt grab from a belt grab. Ah, I see. So we need to actually
His wrist,
Semicolon.
your left hand.
grab his wrist with your left
No,
hand.
if your left hand.
Yes, oof.
I don't know what's going on here.
He's trying,
I'm trying to.
he's trying to read it, he's dyslexic, and then we're trying to figure it out.
Grab his wrist with your
Oh,
left
you're
hand.
dyslexic.
Gingetsu or other strike to his elbow with your right hand to break his grip.
Okay, okay.
Grab his belt.
Or it says belt grab.
So you're grabbing
Okay,
his belt.
you need to take everything else down a line, because the belt grab is the attack. This is the
Yes, sir.
attack. He's grabbing your belt or he's grabbing your pants.
You have it in brackets, usually, but not on this one.
Well, okay.
It should be down the line.
Okay.
Okay, but grab his belt out.
Yeah, you're grabbing my belt.
It just says belt grab.
Left hand,
With your left hand, with left.
Left
No,
hand.
grab his wrist with your left hand.
No, it says it's a belt grab. Grab his wrist with your left hand.
Yes.
Grab the belt.
That's a good fish.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right, okay.
Grab the belt.
Grab his wrist with your left hand. Gingetsu or other strike to his elbow with your right hand to break his grip. Your right hand then grabs his wrist. Quickly pull his wrist to your left and step your left foot back if desired. Use a hand technique for submission.
Oh, now I get it.
Now it makes perfect sense.
Makes sense. You get to try this one because we just figured it out. He grabs, okay? We need to turn this around so you can see what's happening. He's grabbing. I'm going to hit his elbow as a distraction, get him to move forward a bit. Okay, so he's here. I'm going to grab. And he's going to hold on, so I'm just going to twist his wrist.
Okay.
Okay, and if you want a nice submission from here, okay, other than you can do the arm lock, etc., which is cool, but if you don't want to go down, you want to get yourself comfortable, you can stay there.
Yeah.
What you want to do is, again, I'm going to use the outer edge of my foot, and I'm going to come down right back in here and then start applying some weight. Okay, it's not going to break anything. This is, but it allows me to set this so much nicer. Okay. Plus I can slip over and do the sami and other sorts of stuff, okay? So, all it is, it's just the attack is weird.
Well, the name of the technique is Obi Ikinagi.
Okay, I'm pulling, he's grabbing the belt.
And he's pulling his belt to throw it.
Yeah, but the description, it says strike to release his grip.
Right.
But then you actually don't want the grip release.
Yeah.
You actually want him to hold on.
So if you
Well, that's where
release,
the confusion is.
okay.
Well, maybe we should just say
If he-
soften his grip then.
If he releases the grip, that's why I'm grabbing his wrist. So if I hit and he grabs, I can still do the technique. Okay? If he holds, it's like doing a hand throw. You're going to do the hand throw whether or not he lets go of your lapel. I mean, that's what you should be doing. Okay?
Right.
And the same rule applies. You know, if he lets go of your lapel, you still do the hand throw. Okay? If he lets go of the belt, cool. If he keeps hold of your pants, fine. He may end up holding your pants.
So you could add in there which may or may not release
Yeah,
the grip.
I put to break or loosen his grip.
Right, okay, fine. Okay, so you guys want to come out and try that, just for the fun of it? You can't do 1, then 2, then 3, and 4. You have to put stuff together, okay? So if I'm going to go hit, and grab, then hit, then step, and then try and pull, the only way I'm going to get him is I'm going to have to push his arm and pull, okay? And the idea is, as Mark said this morning, as Mark said yesterday, you've got to get to the center and use the attacker, use his energy, okay? One of the nice things about this summer's camp is that somehow we keep repeating each other, okay? So when he's grabbing, I'm going to come in here and basically I will hit as I'm stepping in, so that as I step, I hit, and then he bends and turn. And the fact that he's bending now makes it easier. As I step out of the way, there's only one place for him to go, which is down. Okay? I'm not pushing his arm. Okay? If you get it all together, you won't have to push. Okay? It's like Mark saying, when he came in, if he came in with a hit, if I just, well, that was, it's Mark. Which Mark?
Mark.
Okay. Mark.
Black Mark.
Okay. If you move your body, techniques sort of take care of themselves. Okay? You've got to get your body in the right place and you've got to be moving. Okay? And then things work a lot better. And the hardest thing for me to learn was to do that and have the faith in myself that I could get these things going smoothly and they would work. Okay? And it's kind of one of those things that happens at some point in your martial arts training. You go, gee, if I just do this stuff smoothly and I learn as I step in, that's when I hit. And once I hit, I know he's going to be off balance. And so if I just turn, there's only one place for him to go. Okay? So it's you kind of have to visualize what techniques will do and where you have to be to make them work. Okay? So, knuckle up over it.
227, Ude Hiki Te Nage, arm pull hand throw, from the lapel grab.
Okay.
Grab his right wrist with both hands, with your thumbs pointed to your right, and pull the attacker toward you to get him off balance. Execute a regular hand throw.
Okay, I think I read this, and my question was, when you grab his right wrist with both hands with your thumbs pointed to your right.
Okay, let me borrow power so you can see it. Okay, you want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. With
Right hand lapel.
It just says lapel, it doesn't say which one.
here, and I would go this way. Both hands are pointing to the right.
Both thumbs, okay.
Both thumbs pointing to the right. Okay? That's the way he grabbed the first. I'm not, this is just second did it. I wrote it down.
Well, it makes sense now that I see it, but I'm trying to visualize it.
Yeah.
It's a little tough.
So I would probably bring this up. Okay, so both, okay, so what goes from here? You throw your hand through?
Pull the attacker toward you to get him off balance. Execute a regular hand
Okay,
throw.
okay. So he's going to grab. I'm going to come up, pull him toward me.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
that makes perfect sense.
that makes
But do you really need to grab that way to do that?
You can probably do it with one hand.
No. I mean,
You're doing.
Your left hand goes up like usual.
Palm up, palm down, right? Palm up, palm down. Is that how you did it?
You need to turn your
Right hand
around.
there you go.
It's palm up, palm down, yeah.
That's
They're
okay.
both palm up.
I would imagine your left
Palm
hand
up,
is
palm
back,
down.
and your right hand
Palm up,
is.
palm down.
Switch your hands.
He's here, grab. Here,
See how his left hand is up top?
I'm left-handed.
Yeah, so am I. That's why my left hand's on top.
Left people are.
You're always left-handed.
You're right. If he just pivots back to his left and uses his left hand. to
Yeah, if I
pivot
just
off
wanted,
his-
if I just wanted to use my left hand.
No, no,
and
no,
pull-
no, even with two hands. Okay, grab. You're going here, here, and here?
Yeah.
Yes,
No, I do it this way.
Why can't I just do it this way?
No, do it.
you probably could.
I think because as you turn the arm, that right hand is going to push, it's going to be able to turn more.
Just grab down. That's it.
Yes, I
Or
think so.
maybe
No,
not.
like this. Just grab it down. Palm up, palm down. Palm
Getting
down.
anything out of this.
This one. Like this. I'm not clamping, I'm just grabbing. Thumbs like
Yeah, but which way are the thumbs?
We're not playing golf. Just let it grab his wrist.
Okay.
Well, but you can,
On to the next one.
There are
This is for
many,
fun.
there are
You can
many
punt
ways
right now.
to grab the wrist. All I'm saying, in this particular attack, okay, is your left hand is coming in here, your right hand is coming in here, okay?
Okay.
It's odd because, and as I think this technique through, because as, and I need to turn this around now, okay? There may be some logic here. As I pull him and take his hand off, this is now giving me some relatively good support, where it's holding him this way,
You have to push.
I end up pushing.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this will provide some support, hold his arm up.
Yeah.
I can't push with it, I can't really pull with it. Okay, and that's perhaps its only value, I would think. Okay, it just provides some sort of a base. And if it was a way Seki probably taught it with a big, big swing, I could see where this could be a real problem, but if it's kept in close to you, this is a good support. Okay, you could also do this just simply one-handed, okay? So, you want to do this? Next one.
228. Sleeve stomach throw. Sode Tomoe Nage. From a choke. Grab his sleeves from underneath. Grabbing his sleeves tightly, execute a standard stomach throw. Keep hold of one of his sleeves after the throw so that he pulls you back up next to him. Your knee goes to the middle of his back and submit with a knife edge strike to a vital area.
Okay, now, what you're doing is you're actually pushing him over on your stomach.
Yes.
Just bring him up onto the side.
Just bring him up on his side, because you're set for him.
Yeah, the finish is,
Okay.
you know, Mario, the finish is to just come up on one knee, have your knee in his back, and on the side. So do a,
It's like this getting old.
All
right.
Take three.
I'll get it right this time.
Rule of three. There you go.
Yeah, left knee up. There you are. Now you set your arm guard or anything else that will mark this out.
Could you do it another time?
Okay.
Almost at the string.
Okay, how many of you want to come out and try this?
Number 230. Elbow rear throw. Ushiro Hijinage. From a knife thrust. Pivot out of the way of the thrust. Your right hand grabs his hand at his wrist with your thumb up. Your left hand grabs his sleeve at the elbow to throw him, push his hand in towards him, and pull his elbow to you as you pivot your right foot in and then your left foot back
Okay.
around in a counterclockwise arc.
Okay, this is rocket side, we're gonna start on the other side. He's gonna come in, pivot out of the way, grab.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
With your thumb up. Your left hand
Thumb
grabs
up.
his sleeve at the elbow to throw him, push his hand in toward him, and pull his elbow to you as you pivot. Keep a hold of his arm once he is down, push his elbow toward his head for a submission.
Shave the right side of his cheek.
push his elbow towards his head for a submission.
he just cut his nose off.
No, we're gonna shave his nose off.
If you still hold on,
I know what that means. push his elbow towards his head.
Ah, there you go.
Or submission.
Okay, that'll work.
I didn't get that one.
Or if you don't want to do that, we're here, you're just going to
Bang.
pop him and dislocate it.
That is pushing the elbow to the
That is
head.
pushing, yeah. Technically.
It's just very quickly.
Or, in addition to marks, okay, if you're here, you can push it,
Literally push it. Yeah.
roll it, okay, and switch your knees, bring it back over.
Budoshin.
I cut myself.
Okay, so,
232.
232. Cross block, forward arm throw. Juji Mai Ude Nage. Knife thrust. Block his thrust with a cross block. Your right hand grabs his wrist, thumb down, and pull it in the direction of his thrust as you pivot to his outside. Kick to his stomach with your right foot. As you pivot your right foot back, out, pull the attacker's arm to your right, out, and down to execute a forward throw.
You got that?
Hand technique.
You had me at knife thrust.
okay, let's
Thumb down and pull.
get started over here. And you have to lead me through this once.
Okay, block his thrust with a cross block.
Okay, it's really important when people do a cross block, they do this, okay, and they keep their legs straight. This is a knife, okay? It will make a hole in you, mess up your clothes, okay? If you're going to stay in line of any weapon attack, and you're going to do a cross block, you have to do two things. One, you need to block it as far away from your body as possible. Two, you need to be balanced, okay? And number three, you need to deflect it either to your right or to your left a little bit, okay? Because a little deflection back there, as Marcus said, does wonders for moving a weapon's direction, okay? So when he comes in, I've got a block, and I've already deflected it to my right, okay? So even if he were to come up, it's not as likely to get me. Okay, cross block.
Okay, your right hand grabs his wrist, thumb down, and pull it in the direction of his thrust as you pivot to his outside. Kick to his stomach with your right foot. You pivot your right foot back out. Pull the attacker's arm to your right, out and down to execute a forward throw. Use hand technique for submission.
Okay, now I got it. Now we'll see what happens. We're here, grab. I would knee him,
Yes.
because trying to kick him is not going to work too. Knee him, out. Okay, I would bring my left hand in to continue, and I'm bringing out a big circle. The only problem is I've got the knife edge out there, and I don't like that. Okay. So,
Okay, so now spin 180 degrees.
me spin 180?
This one.
Yeah, if I spin it, he's over, and take the weapon away. Secure the weapon.
Secure the weapon.
Try not to grab the handle with your hand in this manner, because when the police get it, whose prints are going to be on it?
Both of these.
Right. You want to, if you have the presence of mind, okay?
After all this.
Thumb and index finger. You can't attack a person like that.
Yeah, that does kind of blow a hole in the argument that, well, you attack the person with a knife. With 2 fingers?
Thumb and index finger, real.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
One slight variant of that for the exact purpose of the police issue is to take the knife and put it here. If someone jumps on you from behind, first of all, it's not in your hands. Second of all, it's secured very tightly because they can only grab the blade. And third of all, you're not the aggressor.
Not with the knife in your armpit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless they establish you intentionally put it there in case someone was going to grab you from behind and then you'd stab them. Okay.
Right, number 234.
Okay, now, I put this in because 234, 235, and 236 sound almost identical,
Okay,
and I
they may
wanted
be.
a clarification
Okay.
of the differences.
Okay, 230, what's 230?
234. Shoulder lock takedown. Kubi no shiniwaza. Knife thrust. Pivot out of the way. Your right arm goes under his forearm. Your right hand moves up to the right side of his neck. and rests on the back of his neck. And in parentheses, your arm must block his elbow to prevent being cut by the knife. Your right knee then strikes to his heart. Bring him down. Your left hand goes onto his right shoulder and pushes forward and down as you pivot your right leg back and go down onto your left knee.
Okay, first part. He comes in knife thrust, I do what?
Knife thrust. Your right arm goes under his forearm. Your right hand.
I would have thought it would have gone the other way.
Okay.
Yeah, it would come the other way.
That's what I-
There, yeah.
Okay.
Your right hand moves up to the right side of his neck and rests on the back of his neck. Your arm must block his elbow to prevent being cut by the knife. Your right knee then strikes to his heart. To bring him down, your left hand goes onto his right shoulder and pushes forward and down as you pivot your right leg back and go down onto your left knee.
I do not like this thing. Okay. My personal feeling is that this is the wrong arm. I think what it should be is this coming in this way and then right hand on top.
Well, that's a show. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that if it's a little bit different in the footwork. Because and then I would use that.
The initial one?
Yeah.
Well, the initial one is a variant of what I showed of this.
Yeah.
It's a variant of that. But you enter it differently, but gender.
Yeah, if there is one knife where he comes in with a knife and you take him down that way.
Right. Yeah.
But that's not the one 234.
That's not what it says, because it
No.
specifically says your right arm.
Yeah, your right hand moves up to the right side of his neck, is what it says.
Yeah, so this would have to come up this way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, according to the description.
And, then and your left arm's on his right shoulder.
And then you
And then
pivot
you pivot
backwards.
back and drop to your left knee.
That part I don't understand, because if I'm pivoting back with my right foot and I go down onto my right knee, I'm going to break something on me, important.
Okay, so if he's here, around, take him down, come around, down, switch knees, dude, he's rolling too much.
Yeah.
If he has half a brain, I'm gonna get sliced here, and then the femoral artery.
Yep.
I mean, he's not gonna cut across my torso, that's not, up here is not gonna do that much to me, it's gonna hurt. He can slice.
Well, just
across.
remember, you kicked him before you even went
Yes,
down.
that's
In
true
theory.
too.
Hopefully 3 or 4 times.
But that entry doesn't also secure the knife coming
Yeah.
back. So
Well, it does specifically say your arm must block his elbow to prevent
Yeah,
being
so it's
cut by
got
the
to go
knife.
in deep, like
Yeah,
you were showing.
Yeah, it's a trap. I mean, you don't let go of them. Put your left arm.
That arm is kind of blocking.
It is kind of blocked.
Now put
But
your
if
left
all I
arm-
do is just drop,
Now put your
Try
left
knee
arm.
in, bang, bang, and then come around, take.
that'll solve it.
Hold the position. Don't let go of his neck or arm when you go down and pull back.
Okay.
Just go down to your left knee. Okay, so you've got it blocked still.
Okay,
Your left arm is still in position.
right.
I mean, your right arm is still in position to
I
block.
mean, if he comes down this way, he's gonna get a couple of punches to the face before I do
course.
anything else.
But my point was that your right arm is in under his neck. But it was
underneath
there
Yeah.
first, so he can't go that way with the knife yet, because your arm's there.
Okay,
So now, from there, I would have to do a finishing move to go after the knife.
now, at this point, see, if I bring him up.
Knee across the face.
I would follow my position and bring him up into a choke position.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I would do. I would follow it.
I'd bring him face down.
Okay.
No, he's not ending up face down. I mean, if I
So
bring
no,
him.
but you can't because you have the hand,
So
so you
you'd be
can force him
here.
right up.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're gonna be here.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, of
face
course.
down and
Okay.
going this
I
way.
suspect we'll have to put that down as finish as necessary.
Yeah.
I have my suspicions as well, is if you take a couple of good shots to the heart, you're not going to roll, you're just going to go splat.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Well, the heart, I mean, I don't know why they say heart, because
No, it's
Here,
hard to kick your knee up.
Yeah, this is just a bladder, because all you want to do is get him bent over.
Get him bent over.
I
I suspect at that point, if you pivot backwards, he's just gonna go.
And if you don't pivot as much, instead of maybe just only slightly and drop straight,
Here.
you could.
Yeah.
Straight down.
I think what I'm saying by hard, you're trying to get the person to knee as high as possible.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You aim for the heart, but
Your right knee strikes to his abdominal area.
the abdominal
You hit
area
the
is down
bladder,
here.
you hit the bladder, you just want him bent over, just hit the bladder. That's why I was just say, any knee strike, go for the bladder.
I agree.
Trying to go any higher than that.
I agree, I agree.
Okay,
Excellent.
235, shoulder lock forward throw, Kubi Nishimiwaza. Knife thrust. Pivot out of the way. Your right arm goes under his forearm. Your right hand moves up to the right side of his neck and rests on the back of his neck to keep his right arm from retracting. Your arm must block his elbow to prevent a knife cut. Your right knee strikes to his heart to get him bent over, or you may push down on his right shoulder with your right hand. Once he's going forward, your left hand switches, grabs across his chest, and grabs his left lapel.
Easy. Oh, not easy now.
Continue the forward movement with your right hand and pull his left lapel with you with your left hand. Knife edge strike or gingetsu to his heart for submission.
Okay.
Smack.
Okay, so that one's easy.
That's the difference.
That's easy to do.
Can I see that one?
Yes.
I was reading it when you were doing it.
Here, up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bring this down. This is up here. Knee him a couple times, okay? Reach across. Grab as high as you can.
Yep.
Okay, and it's gonna pivot my right leg back and pull. And he's gonna pull you right in.
I would pull him up and just be in behind him for a jump.
You can pull him up. Come behind him.
Still got a knife.
Secure that knife.
He'd be dead before.
Give me the knife. Yeah. Come up underneath. There,
So
there.
fast.
There we go.
That isolates it.
Okay,
You can do a great choke right from there.
yeah. Bring this one around.
Your single wing.
What?
Single wing choke.
Single wing choke.
Single wing?
Single
That's what you
wing
do,
choke.
single wing choke.
Oh, I didn't know it was
wing.
called single wing choke.
Yeah, it's on the menu at KFC.
Oh, okay.
Does it come
Set
with
'em up
special
for that.
sauce?
3 days of chicken.
So, do
all of the comedy go onto the DVD too?
it depends on how it's edited, but I have no problem with it.
It's going to be the gag reel, right?
Well, the person who's actually editing it can get that first part and leave the rest of it out. It's
No, it's, yeah, I mean,
easy
it's,
enough. Or you can just tune the sound.
It's more readable for watching.
yeah.
Okay, number 236. Shoulder lock takedown. Kao no shimiwaza. From a knife thrust. Pivot out of the way. Your right hand slides under his forearm and moves up to the right side of his neck. Rests on the back of his neck. Your arm must block his elbow to prevent a knife cut. Your right knee strikes to his heart if desired. Your left hand rests on his right shoulder. Push down with your left hand and walk forward until the attacker is down on their face.
Okay.
Okay. Number 238. Hand throw, reverse armbar takedown. Tei no shimiwaza. From a knife thrust. Pivot out of the way and move in as if for a regular hand throw. However, as his arm goes up and to your left, he wants to bring it down and back towards him. Your right hand strikes his elbow with the knife edge strike and sets a reverse armbar, aka shoulder lock rear takedown, and take him down backwards. As you go down, place your left knee to the right side of his head. Submit him by grabbing the back of his hand with your fingers, the back of his hand with yours, fingers down, and turn his hand to your right, counterclockwise.
I can get this. Okay. But this isn't turning to my right, this is turning to my
Your left.
It's turning to my left.
Well, go back around and turn to your right.
Yeah. It should be the left foot goes.
Place your
over.
left knee to the right side of his head.
Left knee to the right side of his head. Oh, now I am being dyslexic.
Submit him by grabbing the back of his hand with
Okay,
yours.
so we're gonna do this the other way so we can do the submission.
Yes, yeah, let's switch.
So we're here, he comes in, he doesn't want to play, I'm gonna hit, okay?
Which is totally unnecessary, because he pulls back, he bends his arm.
He may bend his arm, he may be, you know, whatever,
Right.
he,
And then what you're going into is not a reverse arm bar, it's a shoulder lock.
Right.
Yeah, which
It
is,
just say that.
it says reverse armbar takedown.
But that's
And
not,
throw
but it's
slash
not.
reverse armbar takedown.
That's a shoulder lock.
Relax your arm a bit. How else do you get reverse
That's the
arm?
reverse arm bar.
I guess it depends on the definition of armbar.
What
It's
does
an
it,
arm
what
bar.
does it
Well, he
say?
had, that, you can't do an arm bar.
I will say
that
I
long.
found in a couple of the techniques that I reviewed, armbar and arm lock or shoulder lock were kind of inner.
I know, but that's the problem.
I agree.
It's confusing where
That's
it's
why
not
I
really
noted,
what
that's
it
why I
is.
noted.
Right.
Okay, well, it
And
says
I'm
right
not
here in the
debating.
text, it says right here in the text, set a reverse armbar, and then in brackets, AKA shoulder lock rear takedown.
Yeah, but they're not the same thing.
I understand, I'm just saying what's in the text.
So we just cross
That's
out
why
the
I'm saying, that's wrong. It needs to be.
So, should we just cross out
If,
the,
if you go this way, you really can't take.
That's a completely different,
Right, exactly.
yeah,
It was a cross out.
right.
reverse armbar?
Reverse arm bar. And also cross out right hand strike to the elbow, because it's totally unnecessary.
Agreed.
Okay,
Just go right into the shoulder lock.
Just go
takedown.
right into the shoulder lock takedown.
okay.
So start back.
All right, let me actually just make a few modifications to my text here.
Okay, so we've taken, is that it? Okay, we've taken him down. And the left knee goes against,
Your left knee to the right side of his head.
is it left knee down or?
Your
Left
left knee,
Yeah, it says,
place
as
your
you
left
go,
knee to the right side of
it
his head.
says, as you go down, place your left knee to the right side of his head.
There you go.
If this doesn't work this way, we'll do it the other way. Okay, grab his
Turn
fingers.
his hand to your right, counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise? Can't go to my right, it's gonna be counterclockwise.
Right.
Well, then
It's
we
gotta
have a
be one or
problem.
the other.
So it's gotta be one or the other.
No,
That's-
I think the counterclockwise part was what was right, correct.
But that's clockwise.
That's not counterclockwise.
Well, he can either go to his right or he can go counterclockwise. He
I
can't
would
go
say
both.
counterclockwise. That's what I would do.
No. He's
You're
got
not
knives.
actually sad yourself, but
If on the other hand, this is down,
place your left knee to the right side of his head.
Okay, but it says,
Submit
okay,
him
but
by
it says
grabbing
submit
the
him
back.
by grabbing the back of his hand with yours, fingers down,
Turn his hand to your right.
to your right.
fingers down, knee here.
Yeah, that word should be clockwise, not counterclockwise.
You should
It's just wrong, right?
Well, let's use the word correct rather than right.
Yeah, at
because
this point,
Probably start with this technique.
Get it out of the
move
way.
in is for regular hand throw.
Okay.
However, as his arm goes
Okay,
up
I
to the
got it,
left, he
okay,
wants
it's
to bring
easy,
it.
okay, here, come around, you come right here, comes back, so I'm simply, I'm gonna
You sit into the arm bar.
send.
Shoulder lock, sorry.
Okay, shoulder lock, I'm gonna take him down, okay, I'm gonna come down. No, it was this one, this
Exactly.
one,
You put
this
your
one
foot
here.
over knee,
Yeah,
over the top.
Because then you could drop your knee on his
Right.
head and fought you.
Right. Or I can step over under his chin.
I like that better,
I do too, because this is much more secure here.
Because he can't go anywhere now.
because now he can't go anywhere.
I can eat your calf.
You can't eat my calf. It'll move first. It'll move first. It'll move first.
Yeah.
He's flexible, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not gonna go anywhere either if you're actually putting your right knee on his head.
Oh, yeah, if I put my right knee on his head, he's not gonna go anyplace either.
Or you could do the one where you put your foot back underneath and squeeze my head and
Yeah.
hook your leg, yeah.
And then if I put my knee on him, what I should be doing is actually being up on my right foot. So I can put all my weight down on his left knee, on my left knee. But physically, I can't do that with this leg at this point. But correctly, if you're gonna put the weight on here, rather than keeping this knee down so that most of my weight's on my right side, I should get up on my right foot so that all my weight can be on my left knee, and then I can control the amount of pressure that I'm putting on the side of his head. Okay, so I would end up something like this, which I don't like this position. Okay.
I would
But-
stay on both knees.
Yeah. It's,
Here, just take this on.
yeah,
I just drive in here as I turn this.
you could. Okay. Okay.
I was just thinking
And
about
he's not-
butterflies.
And he's not going, he's not going to take any notes. Okay.
Okay. 240. Arm block, hand throw. Ude Juji Te Nage. Overhead knife or club. Okay.
Okay, let's make it a knife, because knife overhead is a little
No,
more.
let's don't.
Club?
You do not want to do a juji for an overhead knife attack.
I know, it's more dangerous. All I want to point out, we'll do the knife for a moment, and then we'll use a club. All I want to point out, and I'm going to point out the same thing you're alluding to, is if I come overhead and I block here, I'm going to get cut.
He's going to cut your wrist.
You're going to get cut bad.
Okay? And if you decide you're going to cross block for an overhead, you need to block as close to the elbow as you can.
Way in there.
Okay, because that way, he still has a chance of slicing down. He still can do that if he's coming back. But you have a remote chance of getting your arms out of there or deflecting it or something. Okay, I would not count on it. But just, I mean, these guys know if you do that, you block as close to the elbow as possible. Okay, as close to the elbow as possible. Okay. Or even if you come in, if you can block above the elbow, is even better, because now it gives you the possibility of totally getting out of the way. But the closer you get to the wrist, the more likely you're going to get cut, which is not good. Okay, it's not going to be a serious cut. It's going to be it'll be a heavy-duty
It's
cut.
going to need stitches.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the worst thing about, the last thing you want to do is get cut near the wrist, even
Right.
if it's not serious.
Right.
Because as soon as you get blood in your hands,
You
blood
lose
is
it.
oily.
Right.
You
Slippery.
You can't.
Let me just make a point of reference, and we'll go back to this. When I do the juji block for a knife attack, it's never a block, it's only a positioning. Because it's a linear attack, I use a circular movement to that. So I simply come in and I'm out of the way.
Right.
And then my hands are to the side from the juji, and they simply slide down the hook. So I'm not trying to stop it into that position, I just try to get there so that I can move out of the way.
Right.
But there's a problem, especially with students, when they hear block, that means stop.
Yeah.
And
it's-
it's really hard to get it through their heads.
It brings up, it's an issue of, most of our blocks, we have very few blocks that are really blocks.
I know that's
Most of
what I was
them-
talking about
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
I even try to avoid
Right.
using the word
Right.
block.
They're mainly deflections,
Right.
okay?
Slips.
Now, there's nothing wrong with a hard block. I've seen
If
it,
you know how-
I've seen it, one of my brown belts used it years ago. He thought he had gotten out of a fight, and there were like hundreds of kids around, there were teachers around, and I was just standing back watching to see what happened, because I figured he talked his way out of that fight. His one mistake was turning his back on the kid. Kid did a roundhouse. He just came up and good solid block, broke the guy's arm. That was the end of the fight. The kid with the broken arm got suspended and got a hospital ride in an ambulance. My kid stayed in school because me and several other teachers were saying, he didn't fight him. All he did was block the hit. He wasn't upset. Because school policy is 2 kids are in a fight, they both get suspended. Doesn't matter who's at fault.
I know.
And the key word was, he was not in a fight. He was not fighting. And I
Yeah,
guess
you just protect them.
all he did was block. And that was it. And he didn't even realize at the time what he had done. Okay, let's go overhead club.
All right, let me read through it.
Okay.
Cross block the overhead attack. Your left hand grabs his wrist. Set a reverse arm bar or shoulder lock. Sounds like we need to put shoulder lock for a rear throw.
Can anyone describe, to me, this is an arm bar.
That's a reverse arm bar.
Okay, this is a reverse arm bar, and this would be the regular arm bar?
No,
forward. Oh, I see what you,
If you're
this is,
facing him as an arm bar, if your back is to him as a reverse arm bar,
bar.
whether it's this side or
the other side.
or the outside.
Right.
If your back is
And
to him as
this,
a reverse
this can
arm bar.
very easily go to a shoulder lock.
And it, right, and if you're on the ground, it's a reclining arm bar.
So I think we want to put a rear shoulder lock, is what the wording we want to use.
Let's use
It's a
rear
shoulder
shoulder, rear shoulder lock.
But to a rear.
Unless you want to start out as a rear arm bar, reverse arm bar, and then go to a shoulder lock.
Okay.
But now we're clear finally on the difference between
This is
an
a
arm bar, a
this is
rear
a
arm bar, and a
forward
shoulder
arm bar.
lock. Forward arm bar,
reverse arm bar.
okay.
Reclining arm.
An arm bar is always a straight arm.
Right.
Shoulder lock is a bent arm.
That's a bent arm.
Okay, good.
You cannot,
I like this.
you cannot go from here, well, yes, you could. Even, you can even go from here, you can come around and do a shoulder.
Well,
So you can turn an arm bar.
Let me read the
into a
You can
shoulder
turn
lock.
it, yeah, you can turn an arm bar into a shoulder lock.
Yeah,
yes.
And you
If he
even-
resists this,
and go the other way.
And vice versa.
if he resists this and his arm remains straight, your right arm will then go under his right forearm, and your right hand will grab the side of his hand, little finger side, with the back of your hand facing you. As you step in toward his right arm,
But it was the
Bend
shoulder
his
lock, it
wrist
wasn't
in.
this. So it started off with a shoulder lock.
Here, so we're here.
right, okay, so there you are. To throw, turn his
Okay,
wrist.
let's, we
Back up.
need to back up because he resisted this. He wanted straight.
If he resists this and his arm remains straight,
Well, and it remains straight, that means it was straight.
uh-huh.
Well,
Okay,
It
whatever.
says you're trying to set it up, but if he resists and his arm remains straight, your right arm will then go under his right forearm, and your right hand will grab the side of his hand, little fingers,
I think it's
side,
getting
with
into
the
the
back of your hand facing you. As you step in toward his right arm, bend his wrist in, and
Okay.
I think it's getting into the reverse arm bar.
I think that's what it is. If you go to put it on, and he leaves it that way.
You're gonna put it on, okay. You come in here,
Yeah.
he decides he's gonna, okay, now we're gonna go.
Then you reach under.
Okay.
It says you reach under, doesn't it? Yes,
Yeah,
your right arm will then go.
over his upper arm and under his forearm. 'Cause it's
Your
the same-
right arm will then go under his right forearm. Doesn't say anything about over.
What's the name of it? Is it a hand throw?
Oh, I got it now. Now we got it. Brain cell connect.
Your right arm will then go under his right
This is
forearm,
straight and iron.
and your right hand will grab the side of his hand, little finger side, with the back of your hand facing you. So it comes around.
That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
get. Yes, that's what I wanted to
So
get. Yes,
So
that's
you're
it.
trying to do this, but his arm stays straight, so you can't get the shoulder. So you bend the wrist and you come in.
Right, and that's because I was coming around, I was trying to go under.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But it does end up under. His arm is straight though.
Hi.
It's still pretty effective.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you got the.
yeah.
To throw, turn his wrist counterclockwise away from you, block his elbow with your right arm, as close to your elbow as possible. Bring your elbow up as you turn your wrist and use caution.
So,
Turn.
this is, but this is clockwise.
Aren't you just basically going to your left and pulling down?
Turn his wrist counterclockwise away from you, block his elbow with your right arm.
I think they mean
Oh.
counterclockwise like that.
Well, maybe what they want you to do is go this way.
Yes.
Yep.
Because this hand then is
Okay.
going counterclockwise.
Yeah, now you really have to use caution.
Which is why they would say use caution, because that'll be like a
Okay,
twig. Yeah.
so, what we're gonna
From the
do.
top.
From the top. Okay, we're here. How? You're here, okay, you wanna come in, he straightens it out, okay? You're gonna reach over. You're here. Stance, this is bent. I'm going to I'm under his elbow, okay, or upper forearm. I'm going to very slowly pivot my left foot back and bring this down to the right. Okay, you are not going to have to worry about any kind of submission. Because if you
It'll
do
break
that,
on the way
if you
down.
do that quickly, it should break his wrist, it should also dislocate his elbow.
The throw is the
So
submission.
that's the Ude Juji K90.
Right.
Yes, number
Okay.
240.
Right.
Yes.
So you want to see it from the other side?
Yes, sir.
Finally. Okay, we're here. Now, grab, you want to do this, he straightened his arm out, hook around. Okay, here. I'm just going to pivot my left foot back, bringing this down to my left side, very slowly, because I value him as a uke, and that's it. Okay?
If you do that with any speed on the street, it won't even go down.
No, it won't go. What happens is, he will go down, but it's going to be after his wrist and elbow are broken.
Totally.
Okay, because the body can't move. It's like a shoulder lock. If you do it for real, the body can't move that fast.
Well, it's just gonna be whatever's the weak link.
Right.
It could affect two different people completely differently.
Mhm.
The weak link, it could be the wrist, it could be the radial bone, it could be the elbow or the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's the weak link that's gonna go.
Whatever.
Something's gonna go.
No, something has to go.
241, sleeve throw. Sode nage from a double lapel grab. Your left hand grabs the bottom of his right sleeve. Step in with your right foot. At the same time, your right forearm goes in between his arms and presses down on his right upper arm at his shoulder joint with your elbow.
Oh, this is a nice one.
Pull his sleeve down away and away with your left hand to throw the attacker. Pivot your left foot back to complete the throw.
Oh, this is such a nice technique. If you do it right, it hurts so much in the shoulder. I'm just telling you. Thank you. It's a great nerve. There's a nerve right there. So what you're here, you're going to pull him in. This is going to come up.
Okay.
And then you're simply going to push down with on your elbow as you pivot back. Okay.
Wow.
You want it, it's at the 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock, depending on your perception of their arm. Right the little soft area in there.
That one's clear as a bell.
Okay.
Okay. 242.
Could you two move back that way just a little bit? Thank you.
We're getting too close.
Yeah.
Keep with a wide angle lens.
Yeah.
Choke, shoulder lock, shoulder block, takedown. Daka Jujitsu, lapel or fist, from a lapel or fist punch. Grab his left lapel with your right hand, pull him toward you, and then across in front of you to your right.
Oh, no, you're grabbing me.
As you
Okay, what's the attack?
lapel or
Lapel or hit.
Okay, we're gonna have to turn this around so we can see what it's kind of like this angle up here. Okay. He's gonna grab the front of it.
Okay. Grab his left lapel with your right hand, pull him toward you, and then across in front of you to your right as you pivot around his right side so that his back is facing you.
Okay, so it's here, and his arm is in the way. So we've got to make this a hit. Okay, so that I can deflect this, pull this across and get behind him, or to his right side at least.
Your left arm goes under his left arm behind his neck. Step backward if necessary to execute a submission and bring him down to the ground.
Okay, so we're like this standing. Single wing choke.
Single wing choke.
Number 13 on menu.
Okay, now, if you want to have fun with this, let this down a little low. Okay, let your hand down a little bit. Take your thumb and put it just to the right of his trachea. If you're gonna do this, and you push him with your thumb, and you're gonna take him down, take your thumb out. The risk of injury is high.
And that is potentially lethal.
Okay, potentially lethal. So if you want to take him out up here, fine. If you want to bring him down, take the thumb out. Okay, you okay? Yeah. Okay, and this is where you're at. Okay. And then and from this position, I would actually swing my hand up a little higher so I could bring his head down more. Okay, because this is safer for me now.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that left arm
Right.
as much.
I can also still take my thumb and put it in his trachea. And if I want to do Kitsudo, I can take my index finger and stick it in his ear, which will annoy the hell out of her.
As he slides into unconsciousness.
Because this is so comfortable.
Okay,
I'm
now,
really
if you want to play with this a little more, okay, turn him over. Oops, sorry. Okay, you're not going to go over it. Just don't get ahead of me, okay, because you might get hurt. what you can do is get your foot over him. And now you're going to go backwards. And this is assuming he has no friends around.
Yes.
Okay? And you go into a really nice scissor display. Okay? And bang him into the cabinet a few times.
Okay.
But,
Can you do that again, and how you got into it? How you actually do it?
oh, we'll turn it around a little bit.
Okay.
We're, from the top part to the bottom part.
Top.
Okay. He's here. Okay. We're going to block him across. Right hand is grabbing his left lapel. I'm going to pull it across to my right as I step behind him. Okay, turn this around here. This is what we have. You're going to come in under, clamp out on top. Okay, your right thumb can come across, go for the trachea. You can take him out up here. You can also stick your finger in his ear up here. Drive him crazy while you're taking him out. Okay. You need to see the part of the ground? Okay. Okay.
Okay, 243.
We're Byron against it.
Reverse choke throw. Gyaku Jujitsu. From lapel. Your right hand grabs behind his left collar, or his left lapel.
Behind?
Your right hand grabs behind his left lapel, behind his neck,
Oh, I think I know what this one is.
with your palm up.
Okay.
Your left hand then grabs the back of his collar, palm down. Pivot in and go down onto
Oh, this
your
could be a
right
drop
knee,
toe. Okay, okay, now I know what this
so
is.
that your arms are crossed above you and he's pulled forward, pull over for Nage and chokes again.
This is an otoshi. Okay. Okay. You're going to come in here. Okay. This feels, this almost feels as awkward as doing the one in back. The reverse hip throw. Okay. You're going to come in here. You're going to come down. Take it over. Under. Okay. Is that what we're describing it
It
as?
says your left knee and grabs back of his collar, palm down. Pivot in and go down onto your right knee so that your arms are crossed above you as he is pulled forward.
Right.
Pull over for Nage and choke submission.
Right. Now, when you choke, okay, we'll have you sit up for this. Let's see if I can do this. When you choke, rather than having your arms in this manner, if you can, you want them side by side. Because what that does is it causes his chin to go back, and you have a much more effective. It restricts his head movement too. Okay. And then if you, from this position on the ground where you're grabbing both lapels and you're like this with both of these forearms under his chin, and then you just lay on his face, or you have his head turned sideways. Okay. It's a nice pin. Again, on the street, I don't know if I would use it if he has friends. Because his friends aren't going to stand there and watch me choke him out or suffocate him out by having his face stuck in my chest and stomach. Okay, that's a gross way to go. Especially if they're both sweating.
44. Arm pull throw. Ude hiki nage. From a wrist grab, right on left, it looks like. Quickly pull down and back if necessary with your arm. Turn your hand counterclockwise if necessary. Drop down onto your left knee if desired.
Okay, so what is this? What's the first part?
Quickly pull down and back if necessary with your arm.
Okay. Okay, this is one of Seki. I'll tell you right off, this is a concept technique from Seki, okay, in terms of body movement. It will get you a release. I would not do this just to get a wrist release and end up on my knee on the street, okay? But it's a good technique in terms of teaching a student how to move and come back and do this movement, come down onto their left knee or right knee, okay? So he's going to grab, okay? All I'm going to do is I'm going to reach in, come back down, okay? Just making this circle, okay? And why do I reach in first?
To get the counter response.
What's the counter response?
Going out.
What causes that to occur? What's his counter response?
Tighten up the grip.
Tighten up and push forward.
If I go this way, what's his counter response? He's going to push back. He's going to resist.
Yeah, he's going to.
And that's what I'm trying to work with. Okay, so as soon as, we did this yesterday in one technique?
Yeah.
As soon as you sense resistance, you do the rest of the technique. Okay, because you're gonna have that resistance for maybe half a second or less. Half a second if you're lucky, if he's slow-witted. Okay. So it's basically an exercise to get you to sense that resistance and move. Okay. On the street, I guess you could modify, let's move back a little bit. On the street, he grabbed you, you move in, he steps in, you take, you do it without going down. And at least he's going to go in that direction. But that's all that, I mean, there are far more effective things to do on the street than that. But that's what it tries to help you learn, is to sense their resistance. Because you need that, I mean, even when we did finger throw, you need to be able to feel when he's set to be thrown. Not by looking at his shoulder, okay, not by looking to see if he's on his toes, but by feel, okay? That's why black belts get 30 seconds with a bandana over their eyes in the black belt competition.
Number 245, finger block winding throw. Shimi makikomi, from a rear bear hug over the arms. Kick either shin. Your right arm holds his right arm against you. Your left hand grabs the fingers of his right hand. Your right leg blocks his right leg. Execute a standing body winding throw, except remain standing, almost like Karatoshi.
Okay.
Use a hand technique for submission.
That was mine. So is it a makikomi or is it a taitoshi? This can't be.
I think, because what's her name did this Thursday night, Christina, when she was trying to do taitoshi, was taitosh is very, taitosh is you're in here, this leg has to snap as you turn, okay? Where it becomes makikomi is if that's there and all you do is turn, but you remain standing. If the whole torso, I mean, that to me is not a taitosh. Okay, what would you call it if it's just
A makikomi is a sacrifice throw.
Right.
To do a makikomi, you must go to the ground.
Okay.
Otherwise,
It's not a makikomi. Okay, that's, she did a poor taitoshi.
yeah. The taiko, no, snapping, it's just an added.
Oh, I read for taitoshi to be anything of 4 or higher, that snap has to be there in some form or manner, even if it's really crummy. That has to be there. Because to me, that's a basic concept. I mean, I tell the students right up front, the 2 things I look for in a taitoshi on green belt is actually is this lined up, and she was going for blue, okay, or the toes lined up, and if I were you, can I see your kneecap, and you're looking straight down at the kneecap in front, happy to put. If you have that set on a green belt test, I am happy. Because the rest of the throw is going to work. Okay. Okay, so we're rear bear hug.
Rear bear hug, kick either shin. Your right arm holds his right arm against you. Left hand grabs the fingers of his right hand. Right leg blocks his right leg. Execute a standing body winding throw, except remain standing. Use a hand technique for submission.
It's a drop throw. That's just taitoshi.
Yeah, the drop throw? Make it
Taitoshi.
I think it depends on how it comes out.
Yeah.
Well, if
Well, you could do either one.
If you remain standing,
Yeah.
it's taitoshi. And
If you go down, it's a
if
drop.
you go to the ground,
If
it's
you go
makikomi.
down, you could do either one.
Okay.
It looks like the difference to me is that you're twisting to make the throw happen.
Yes, I'm twisting my entire torso to make the throw.
No, that's how you do
That's how-
taitoshi.
But taitoshi is anything where you snap your leg.
So different. Anyway.
Yeah.
Just I can see why it might be.
It's, I call it this, the makikomi, the body winding concept,
Yeah.
and if I said taitoshi, I would have required the snap in there.
Snap. Yeah.
Okay, that's the reason, I mean, you're kind of going through the same movement, except you aren't going down.
I know, but that's the difference between a
Yes,
makikomi
yes.
and a taitoshi. Do you go down or not? If you're saying don't go down, then it's not a makikomi.
How would
It's
you do this as a makikomi?
Huh?
How would you do this as a makikomi?
Just do a
Just go
makikomi.
down.
Right there,
Makikomi.
Just go down on them.
Yes.
Makikomi.
He may
No,
pull you,
makikomi
he may
is-
pull you down on him.
I would ki very loudly.
Yeah, very loudly.
And
which case use them as a pillow and go into hard surfaces. on soft tissue.
My only concern is if you go down, since you've got his, like this,
Yeah.
and the left hand is holding his fingers?
Yes.
I think so.
Okay. Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay. My main concern, well, no, we'd be okay if we did Bach and me. I don't think I'd break his fingers.
No, you'd break his ribs, but.
I'd break his ribs, but I won't break his fingers. Okay. Are you glad you came today with all this?
Yes.
Well, this is stuff that's been sitting there for 20 years and hasn't been sorted out, so it's kind of a sorted day. Okay.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Let's just go ahead and get started. Small crowd, usually Saturday we have more people. I don't know what's
That was
going
beautiful.
on.
We did this.
We did this morning.
Yeah, what happened?
They knew you were teaching this.
Yeah, Steve had to go, and Mike had to go back to work. And-
Okay, well, we'll move on.
Their loss.
Yeah. Okay, as I was talking about yesterday, there are, the idea here is to give you some more things to think about, kind of expand the way you think about what you're doing. And under the topic of countering submissions, a lot of people just don't even realize what all that covers. Basically, anything can be a submission. So if you don't know how to counter strikes, you don't know how to counter nerve techniques, you don't know how to counter all of the submissions, because most people just think of joint locks and strangulations when they think about submissions. But even a throw can be a submission if you get slammed down and it's all over. We covered nerve techniques, nerve submissions, and striking submissions yesterday. So we'll try to get through as much as we can, covering the other areas of strangulations, joint locks, and throws. Now, the good part about it is some of those we can get through fairly quickly because we've already covered a lot of it in previous stuff that we've done this weekend. So if you've been here all weekend, you've already seen some of the stuff. But one thing I always like to ask is, as I said yesterday, when we was asked what types of topics do you want to cover, and this topic of countering submissions came up, we didn't go further and ask, okay, what specific submission are you looking for counters for? And I asked that yesterday, and we had a few examples. Jeff gave an example, a couple other people gave examples of submissions. And well, how do I get out of this? Okay. Well, invariably, I'll get someone who, when I ask that, they say, okay, he's got you face down. He's got his arm around your throat. His knee is in your back. He has your left leg pulled back and wrapped around your head twice. How do you get out of that? And the question is, what do you do? I usually have two answers for that. I say, you die. Or I come back and ask another question. I go, is it Tuesday or Saturday? And of course, what do you mean? Well, on Tuesday, Venus aligns with Jupiter differently, so I would turn left. Whereas on Saturday, Mars is in the third quarter, so I can go to the right. So the point is, it's stupid, because how in the hell did you get put into that situation? The only way, well, there are two ways. There are two ways that you would ever find yourself in such an incredibly complicated lock or submission hold. Number one is probable, you got hit from behind, you got knocked out, and when you woke up, you were in that hole.
Submission, right.
Okay, and then my first answer to that would be correct. You just died, because it's all over. You're not getting out of that. The only other way that you could have ended up into that position is you let yourself get put into this position. And we do that sometimes in the dojo when people get this, what I call dojo syndrome, is that, okay, all right, lay down on the ground and I'm going to set this wrist lock and then I want to see if you can get out of it. Okay, and so they do. They lay down and give you the arm and you set the lock. In real life, okay, you don't just let someone set a submission on you. Virtually every submission that I've seen or described, even the elaborate ones, somewhere along the line, you had 3, 4, or 5 totally different opportunities along the path from no submission to submission that you could have acted and you could have done something and they would have never gotten that submission on you. So 90% of the time, my answer is, why did you let them set that on you? How did you get there? Okay? So in most cases, your counter to submission is don't get submitted. Don't get put in that situation. Karate Kid asks, the sensei says, what's the very best self-defense technique?
Yeah.
What did he say?
Don't be there.
Don't be there. So your best counter to a submission is don't get put in that position in the first place. So you always got to realize, no matter what the opponent is trying to do to you, you should be trying to avoid getting put in that position. Now, part of what we're going to cover today is the fact that it's not a perfect world. Mistakes happen. You turn left when you meant to turn right. They get lucky or they catch you off guard. And yeah, it's possible that they might be able to get a submission on you. But it's going to be a fairly simple, common submission that with a little bit of thought, you can easily figure out how to get out of it. Okay? The key in most cases is how do I get out of a submission? First question would be, how did I get into it? And 90% of the cases you get out of it the same way you got into it. So if you got into it by him turning you this way, then you need to get out of it by going back the other way. Okay? And most of the time you can figure out how to get out of a submission. Okay? Now, in understanding that, then if submissions, number one, we don't want to get put into a submission. We do everything to avoid getting put into a submission, and most of them really aren't that hard to get out of. Then why do we bother learning counters to submissions? When I tell you don't get submitted, then why would I even bother trying to learn how to get out of a submission when most of the time we're not going to let them put us in that position? Well, as I said, it's not a perfect world, and occasionally they may get lucky and they could get you into some type of lock or hold, and now you got to deal with it. Okay? But as far as I'm concerned, that's not the main reason you want to learn counters to submissions. It's good to know in case somebody gets lucky and puts that submission on you. It's good to know for that case. But that's not why we study counters to submissions. The reason we study counters to submissions is because there is a counter, there is a way out, and even someone with no training could guess right and could slip out of that hole. So when you're setting submissions, if you don't have it just right, then the opponent can wiggle out of it. He can get out of it. So the reason you need to learn counters to submissions is so that you know what he's likely to try to do to get out of it once you have it set. Because if you don't know where the holes are, you don't know how to plug it up, and you don't know how to secure that submission when you've got somebody you're trying to hold down and he's still struggling to get out of it. Okay? So by knowing where the holes are, when he starts to struggle, you can say, uh-oh, he's starting to move towards the opening. I need to close that up. So by really understanding counters, you're making your submissions better because you can prevent being countered. And that's the main reason we want to learn counters to submissions, so we can make ours better. Okay, got it? All right. Now, the first area, again, very easy to cover, very simple to cover because we've already talked a little bit about it. Yesterday, Professor Kirby started in his very first lecture area when we were talking about immediate response. It doesn't matter what the response is, it should be an immediate response. And in the area of strangulation or chokes, anything around the neck, we tend to use kind of generic terms in jiu-jitsu, and when we say chokes, it's usually anything around the neck, but that could be a joint lock on the vertebrae, it could be a pain technique against the nerve, it could be a choke against the trachea, or it could be a strangulation against the. And all of those things we just call them chokes. So just as a generic term, but it could be any of those things. So all you're really concerned about is somebody getting their arms or hands around your neck, because the neck and throat are extremely vulnerable and you just can't allow that to happen. So the first thing you need to understand about chokes is there needs to be an immediate reaction, because you can't allow them to cinch that down. Because we saw yesterday with Chris's demonstrations on strangulations and chokes, just how quickly you could be out. I mean, and it's all over with. Okay, now I'll use Chris's. Number one, okay, again, let's talk with generalities and perfect world, and then we'll move to, okay, what happens when things go bad? Okay, first of all, a choke from the front, whether you're just talking a simplistic attack choke from the front, or even a cross choke from the front. Cross choke's better than just a regular choke, but still, a cross choke in the front is really not that hard to counter. Okay, so any choke from the front, easy to get out of and deal with. What the thing is, you need to get in your head that never let the opponent get your back. Never let him get to the back. If he starts trying to move, move around to the back, I need to keep him in front of me. Don't let him get to the back, because as soon as he gets to the back, if he gets a choke on you from behind, it's 100 times harder to deal with than a choke from the front. Okay? Now the other thing, as I said, move into the situation where, okay, he just sneaks up behind you, he catches you off guard, whatever, and you're there, and now all of a sudden there's an arm around your neck. Okay, you never see it coming. How do you deal with it? First of all, in your jiu-jitsu, every one of you should have covered your basic things from simple forearm choke coming here. This is dangerous. The pressure against the trachea is dangerous, but it's really easy to deal with because it's not really a good choke. Somebody just comes up and puts a forearm around here. Here, I mean, all it is pressure here. Okay? How do I get out of this? There's a dozen ways to deal with this, but the easiest way to get out of this is
Big hole.
yeah, there's a big hole right there. Okay, hey, come on, what are you doing? Okay, get back. No, I don't know you. Tying it all together. Okay, so you know dozens of techniques, okay? I'm in here, turn this into the shoulder lock, okay? Immediate relaxation, stomp, elbow, whatever. Okay, so simple chokes, fairly easy to deal with. The only chokes you really need to worry about are more correctly set chokes. And one is more correctly set air choke, which is across the trachea, and that's not just simply a forearm across here. Okay, this could be dangerous, but it's typically not. It's when he gets the other hand in here and starts pulling back. Okay, so a couple of things you want to do is, as I said before, the question is, how did I get put into this situation? Was there something I could have done along the way to prevent getting into that position? So the thing is, as soon as he comes up behind me, he's going to make contact somewhere. He's going to bump me or something. I'm going to realize there's somebody behind me, and then this arm starts coming around here. So if I'm aware enough and I can react quick enough, he comes in and that arm starts, the hands just come up, okay? Here, the hands just come up, and I never let him get the arm around me. Okay. Another way is if I don't get this one up enough, at least this one is in here, and even if he tries to get this one in to set, okay, he can't set that because I've got something in here. Now I strike, then I deal. So the first thing is, as soon as you sense something is wrong, start protecting that area. Hands come up, try to protect the neck so he can't get that cinched in, okay? But even again, if you miss that opportunity as well, you're standing here, he's putting his arm around your neck and you're going, okay, do we want the 2:30 showing of Return of the Jedi or the, okay, because you weren't paying attention, you let them get that set, okay? First of all, where's the real danger? Against the trachea. You can't allow him to get that pulled back. So that's the first thing you got to deal with. As soon as you feel the pressure in here, it's got to be everything you've got has got to go in to relieve this pressure here. It's try to turn the head so the pressure is not on the trachea. Get that arm and pull it just pull it tight to your body. Okay? By pulling it tight here, he can't cinch it in and set the choke. Okay. Once I've done that, once I've gotten the pressure off of here, now I can do any of the other things I've learned how to do. Stomp, kick, elbow, fingers, anything I need to do. Okay. Another good thing here is notice that in setting this up here, if he's really going to cinch this in, his head is going to be right there over my shoulder. It always is. That's how I know when somebody really knows what they're talking about. Oh, somebody tries to choke you from behind, just do a headbutt back, you'll break their nose. No, you won't. Their nose is never going to be behind your head. It's going to be over your shoulder. Always. But when he sets any kind of choke, that head's going to be right there. So here, fingers right back into the eyes.
We'll take it as red. I'm just keeping my head.
Yeah, I know. So you know it's coming. So any fingers back into the eye. Stomp, elbows. So immediately, pull the hand down, get the pressure off, and then start striking. Just hit until he loosens up a little bit, and then you've got drop throw, hip throw. You got anything here once that loosens up. Okay, so very, very simple thing to do. The other thing is the other type of choke you need to worry about is a good proper blood choke. Okay, that was air choke right across the trachea. Now we're talking about blood choke. Rear Hadaka, where he gets this all the way around, and now he starts to set this up. Okay, again, you get into this position, you're going to be in some serious trouble. Okay, however, we can let go for a second. Again, the issue is most people do it wrong. Okay, and because most people do it wrong, it's really not that hard to get out of. Okay. Again, you want to try to take the pressure off, pull the arm down against the chest here to begin to take some of this pressure off. Now, again, I've got stomp, kick back, elbows, any number of things. Okay, but once I do that, immediate reaction, hit him a few times, loosen him up. Okay, and now All I've got to do is continue pulling this as I drop, and it breaks that choke. Breaks that choke every time. Because most people do it wrong. If they're doing it right, you won't break it. But this is in here. Lock it down, stomp, stomp, hit, drop. And then got the shoulder lock. Take him down. Okay, so here's all I want you to do. As I said, the forearm choke is stomp, hit, kick, loosen them up, and then any throw, takedown, you know how to do. In this one, I found it going into that shoulder lock is one of the quickest and easiest things to do because it's the last thing they expect. Okay, so again, this comes in, you immediately pull this down, hit, stomp, whatever, hit to loosen up. Okay, keep this pulled down as you drop, and what happens is, put this arm up back, no, here. Notice what happens is this is locked in typically like this, but when you drop and pull, it breaks the hold, breaks the choke. And now this arm is right here, this simply slips inside, I've got my shoulder lock, and take him down. Okay, so one more time, right quick. Pull down, stomp, strike, drop, and turn. This slips inside, and you've got the shoulder lock takedown. Okay, simple enough, so let's try that a few times from the rear hadaka. And choke's the best way to avoid getting choked is never let the guy get behind you. But again, maybe they sneak up behind you, you don't see it coming. It could happen. So as soon as you sense somebody's behind you, you need to start acting. You need to be the proactive. You can't just stand there and go, well, I wonder if he's going to set up air choke or a blood choke. And then I'll see what I'm going to do. No, you immediately, you don't wait to see what he's going to do. You simply act. This is not like a tournament where they go, okay, I'm going to get behind you now and set the choke. Okay, now you can react. No, you react as soon as you sense something is wrong. And the sooner you react, the sooner you're going to be able to get out of it or prevent something bad from happening. It's immediate reaction. Okay? And then in worst case scenario, they actually do get the choke set on you. In most cases, they're not that hard to get out of. You just remember simple, basic jujitsu techniques, right? Loosen them up and then move, break that hold, and there you go. It's basic stuff. So in dealing with counters to submissions, most of them are just the regular attacks you've already learned how to deal with anyway. So just go back and say, oh, I think I've actually already learned that one. Okay, so a lot of the techniques you learn are simply counters to attacks, which most attacks are meant to be a submission of some kind. Okay, so now moving on to nage, or throws. As we said, a good throw is the best submission there is. Okay, as far as submissions go, okay, as far as effectiveness, strangulations got to be number one. Okay, because someone who is asleep is not going to hurt anyone. Take their little nap and maybe they'll feel better when they wake up. So it got to be right up there at the top as far as effectiveness as submissions. Second on the list is a good throw. A good throw is such a shock to the body that even if it doesn't take them out, they're gonna lay there going, oh God. It is an incredible shock to the body. Now, the reason it's a shock to the body is because, number one, you're doing it against someone who doesn't know how to fall. And number two, you're not doing it on these nice cushy mats. You're probably doing it on an asphalt parking lot or a sidewalk. You know, even if you're in a bar you know, it's a tile floor. Okay? You may get attacked in the park where it's nice and grassy, but for most of the cases where they're gonna fall, it's gonna be a hard fall and they're not gonna know how. And it's a hell of a shock to the body. They're gonna hit the ground, and I have had students, I had one recently, just within the last 6 months, that he was approached with a guy with a knife, and he did a drop throw, and he said that the guy actually bounced.
Awesome.
He actually bounced. And he was thinking, what's he gonna do for a submission? But as soon as the guy's head hit the sidewalk and he heard that crack, he knew he needed no submission. And sure enough, the guy did not move again until the paramedics showed up. That was it. Drop throw, end of story. Okay? So, a good throw, that is what throws are designed. But we kind of tend to lose that, the purpose of the throw in training in the dojo. What I call dojo syndrome is because we get accustomed to everything that happens in the dojo, and we think that's the way it is. And you get thrown on the mat, you hop right back up, and you do it again. Okay, you throw your opponent down on the ground, he hops right back up. You ready to go? So you get in this mindset that, okay, a throw is a throw, and then I still have to do a submission afterwards. But 9 times out of 10, nope, no submission necessary. Yes.
I was going to say, years ago, when I was in college wrestling class, I tried to do a throw on one of the wrestlers, and I screwed it up, and he reversed it on me, and I was looking up, and my diaphragm wasn't working, and the rest of the match was over. It was just that fast. And I was just so stunned that I'd screwed up the throw, and he put me down and just knocked the wind out of me, and I just laid there for like what seemed like an eternity because I couldn't breathe. And like there was 3 people around me trying to get me to breathe, and I'm just saying, leave me. I'm thinking to myself, just let me alone and I'll be fine.
Just let me die.
I mean, I couldn't move. I mean, my body was just limp.
Right. So a good throw is as good a submission as you're going to get. So number 1, don't get thrown. Right? Don't get thrown. There are a lot of ways we teach preventing getting thrown by hip throws and drop throws and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't need to go through a whole bunch of stuff. Again, I'll just give some examples of what we mean by getting thrown. Now, let's go back to, okay, how do we prevent getting into that situation, or what happens when all else fails and I end up getting thrown anyway? Well, number 1, what do we talk about? Break falls. It's the first thing you learn when you begin Jiu-Jitsu. What is your counter to a throw? Oftentimes, it is a break fall. Okay? So don't take your break falls lightly. They're so important. They can save you from getting a serious injury in a throw. So if it means taking the fall and then bring him with you in what we call a sacrifice throw, then that may be the only counter you get to do because you waited too long and he actually did get the throw in. So understand, that's one way. But I said, how do we prevent it? How do we prevent it in the first place? Okay. All right. So let's say I'll use Byron wants to do a drop throw on me. Okay. Maybe I was trying to do a palm strike to get him off of me, and he comes in. What does he do? First he grabs this arm, then he grabs this arm, and then he does his drop throw. Okay. Go ahead. Oh, I think I broke my arm. That's all over. Okay, you win. Well, what did I say? There were at least 3 points along that way that I could have prevented him from doing the drop throw. Number 1, what was the first thing he had to do? What was the very first thing he did? His very first thing here. That grab right there. Okay? All right? So, I do this. I see him grab it. Don't do that. Don't touch me, I don't know you. Okay? So here, he does that, and you see him, oh, look, don't let him have it. Okay, you see him going for it. I mean, you've been doing jujitsu long enough, you shouldn't be able to recognize what he's trying to do. Okay, so as soon as he goes to grab, then hit him with the other hand.
We see judo players do that at the beginning of a match. They'll spend
a long time just trying to get a grab.
Just trying to get a grab.
Exactly.
And they'll knock each other off. And yeah.
Okay. So all right. So that's the first place I could have prevented him from even getting into the throw. Okay. Let's say here he actually does get the grab. Okay. All right. He actually does get the grab. Okay. Oh, what's this? How many techniques for a wrist grab does a white belt know? Okay, here. What's that? It's a wrist grab. Come on. If you don't know 67 techniques for a wrist grab, why do you even have a green belt? Okay, so come in. Oh, you got arm. Oh, okay. So that's all I want you to do. Okay, you're going to go in. All you're doing is you're going to simulate a palm strike. Okay, I want to take this guy with a palm strike. Here, he comes up, he grabs your wrist. The other hand goes to it. Bring him down in a wrist lock. Okay, that's all I want you to do. You simulate a palm strike. He simulates a wrist grab. Then you simulate a. Okay, all right, let's try that. What he's going to do, you don't care. You don't stand there and wait to see what kind of throw he's going to do. All you do is, oh, he grabbed my wrist. I'm going to do a wrist technique. Okay? It's a wrist grab. That's not what he was planning to ultimately do, but that's what it is, and that's what you act on. Okay? You grab my wrist, I'm going to do a technique I know how to do for a wrist lock, for a wrist grab. Okay? And that's how you act immediately. Don't wait for the next move. Okay? But what is the next move going to be as he comes down? Okay, let's say I'm not focused well enough, I'm not watching what's going on, I do this, he grabs this, what's the next move? Is to come in to set up for there. But what's he doing? What did he do just there?
Gives you a turn.
He gets turns back. What did I say?
Don't give people
your back. Okay? Now, okay, again, when we do things, we go to the element of surprise. We believe he doesn't know what we're about to do. So, number one, when we turn our back and we go in for a corkscrew or a hip throw or something, we've already established some kind of control. And you should be at the point, especially, as I said, this is for black belts, you should be at the point when you move in for a hip throw and you feel him starting to counter it, you should be able to recognize it right away and go, uh-oh, this guy knows something. And you either back out of it or you change it into something else very quickly before he has a chance to counter your hip throw. Okay, but we're talking about the unsuspecting guy that he comes in, he grabs your wrist, he starts to come in here. Again, he's had his 6 weeks of Budoshin Jujitsu, and now he thinks he can do a hip throw or a drop throw.
He's got 3 months of judo.
Right.
There you go.
Okay, so as he comes in, this one starts to come in, I'm going, oh, I know what he's going. You either go up and over, okay, or if he's going underneath to do a hip throw, again, you turn it in, and either way, what you're doing is moving. Now, I've got him, I got his back, and I've got him in a choke or submission, okay? If it goes, let's see, you're going over the top, and here, over the top, I turn this way, here, I go with the face. So, with the arm, you're just gonna push this, his arm's coming this way, you just make sure it keeps going that way. So if it goes over the top, it's not gonna put you in a good position for a choke, but it gives you a good position for eyes, head. Here I can come this side or this side, either way, bring him down and I finish him up. If his arm goes underneath, for a hip throw, okay, just bring it in, and I've got immediately choker neck crank.
The whole key to what you're saying is that you still have your balance.
Exactly.
I need to have broken your balance.
Well, if he's broken my balance now,
That goes to the third section.
that's the final stage. He actually does get the throw in. Once he breaks your balance, there's really not much you can do. Okay? But that's all I want you to do. When he comes in, he starts to bring that other arm in there, go ahead and push it and make sure it goes on through. Number one, that it confuses them. Okay? And that puts me in the perfect position to either go in for the face or right on into a choke and bring him back and down. Okay? So as that arm comes in, just go ahead and slap it right on through and take him back in any, whatever comes to mind, whatever looks convenient, whatever the opportunity is. Okay? So try that a couple of times. Start from here. Did I just allow him to go in for that hip? Notice how he drops right into a good solid stance, and now he's ready to throw me. Okay? But with this little push here, I'm coming in this way. See how he stumbles a little bit? And just that little extra push there.
Look at his feet.
He's off balance.
See, his feet are totally, he can't set the
He
balance.
never gets a good stance and he's never ready to really do a throw. And that gives me time to take the head and.
Even knowing it's coming,
Yeah.
I can't do it.
You can't stop it. Yeah. Okay? All right. Same thing works. He's got to go in same way for either hip throw or drop throw. So by turning his back in there and turning in, you can take that moment going in there. Okay. The other thing is, okay, let's say you wait even longer and he's able to actually drop in and get the throw in. Once he breaks your balance and you start to go, there's no point in trying to resist at that point. There's nothing you can do. Once you've lost your balance, you have nothing. The best thing you can do is just go with it, take the fall, do your best break fall so you don't get hurt, but do something, just hold on and bring him with you. That's what a sacrifice throw is, okay? Sacrifice throw is, okay, I'm just going to take a fall and I'm going to bring him with me. So you're talking about ukiyo-toshi, maki-komi, any of those things. Basically, all of those techniques come from the idea that, yeah, you might get thrown and you might find yourself going to the ground. All you need to do is make sure that you latch on and bring him with you as you fall. And if you do that, what has happened? He has basically thrown himself. Okay? Because you take the fall, you don't get hurt, but you bring him with you and he takes a nice hard fall. Again, anybody who's had a few really good maki-komis, that's what you're talking about. You get slammed, all of a sudden, knocks the wind out of you, you can't breathe. Pretty much, it could be over at that point. So again, I don't need to go into a lot of demonstration and detail about sacrifice throws. You just take the fall and bring him with you as you come. All right. So moving on. Don't have much time, so I want to get to the real area where most people have their concern and most people really don't get counters. And it is usually the main area that people ask about. Okay, what about this wrist lock? What about this arm bar? What about this shoulder lock? It's almost always joint locks when people ask me about countering certain submissions. And I can understand that because if you've had the submissions put on you, you know they're painful, they work really well, and most people don't really have that much of a clue on how to counter joint locks, okay? But again, let's go back to the original premise. Why did you let yourself get put into a figure 4 wrist lock? Okay, there must have been at least 4 places along the lines there where you could have done something to prevent that figure 4 wrist lock getting set on you. Okay, or whatever it is, elbow lock, shoulder lock, whatever it is, what could I have done to have prevented that? Okay, again, your break falls come in very handy in dealing with joint locks, okay? Because once they get a joint lock, it's kind of hard not to go with it, okay? Once you get a wrist lock put on you, it's kind of hard not to go with it, okay? So let's talk about the basic way you're going to deal with preventing getting put into some serious joint locks as submissions. Okay, I use Chris. Okay, so basic joint lock that most people worry about is a good elbow lock. So if I've taken him down with an elbow lock, I got the elbow lock in, he's sitting there going, okay, how do, oh, that's bad. Okay, how do I get out of that? Okay, well, my question, the original question, how did you get into it? Okay, how did I let myself get into it? Okay, so for whatever reason, I'm not paying attention, or he's pretty good at setting that up. Okay, here he gets my arm, he's starting to go in, for the elbow lock. Yeah. Okay. Elbow lock. Okay, again, elbow lock. Oh, look, no elbow lock. Okay, and forward roll. That's your counter to an elbow lock. You sense this guy's taking you down like this, forward roll. Gone. Okay? You're out, you're over there, you get up, and he's like, ooh, yeah. Okay, so your uke's going to try to set an elbow lock. You're going to do a forward roll. That's all there is to it. Okay, let's try it out. Going to the ground. Now what's going to happen in most cases when you go to here, you start getting down. He actually gets you down. You typically drop to your knees, right? Okay, most people will, so just drop to your knees. And as he's starting to go here, he realizes I'm not all the way down, so he's going to try to put some more pressure on it. Okay, so he got me this far, but I'm not going to let him go any further. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this arm and I'm going to shoot it through to my back hip and roll that way. So kind of like we were talking, kind of sit and roll to the side. Sit and roll to the side. So as he starts to put that, he gets me this far. And he's starting to put more pressure to try to get me all the way down. Shoot this arm through, sit down, and roll away.
And kick his buddy in the face.
Yeah, and kick Byron in the face. Yeah. If Byron's not around, go find him and kick him in the face. Okay? That's it. So if he gets you all the way down to the knees, again, just take this hand here, shoot it back through, shoot it back through here, and then roll away. And just pull your hand away, do your basic wrist release, and you're out of it. Okay?
But don't sit there. You got to roll out and turn around.
Yeah,
because he's going to follow you. And
get roll around and immediately respot him where he is. Get up.
What if once you've done your roll, because he's holding one of your hands, you turn and grab his wrist, and as you complete your first roll, grab his wrist and keep rolling.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, we're just talking about how you prevent it.
Right.
Here, once I roll out of here, I got this. I got bam, bam.
Oh, I'm taking up knitting.
Right. So, yeah, we're just talking about how to prevent. Once you're free.
I don't think he could grab me. His palm was the wrong way.
Yeah, but you saw there was at least 6 other things I could have done there. So we're just talking about how you prevent getting your arm broken. What you do after that is wide open, because it doesn't. Okay, so try that onto your knees. I'm sorry. Scoot his shoulder through. That's okay. Yeah, shoot the down on the ground, and he gets that. Oh, no, just a regular. Arm, this leg up, and he's setting up basic arm bar, putting pressure here, trying to work against your shoulder. Here, again, as I said, if he actually gets the whole set and he gets it set right, you're pretty much in trouble, okay? But if I get all the way down here, again, remember your basic principle. How did we get out of this in both other situations? We did a roll. Okay, I got to find some way to roll. It's not easy, but if I can take this arm and I can shoot it through to the other side, I can roll. And
Nothing else
And
for
then
him?
and now we may be here.
Is that what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
But
It's better than where
But I prevented getting a broken arm, okay? So again, it's shooting that arm through. From here, I want to shoot it back towards the hip. If I'm on the ground, I can't do that. I just need to shoot it under my body. And so I'm here. I just want to shoot it in towards his center.
You got my nuts.
Yeah. Then I go in. I got something to go for. Because there he is. He's right there. Ooh.
Right there.
Low hanging fruit. Okay, so try that a few times. It takes a little bit of flexibility, but you just need to take that arm and shoot it to the other side and roll. And at least you prevent getting a broken arm. Okay? All right. So try that a couple of times, and I will do same principle. Okay? You just okay. Set me here and here. Same thing. Same basic principle. If I can shoot this through. So shoot the other arm through, go towards him. Okay. Here, shoot this through him, towards him. Right in. He's done. Okay. So,
is there any like secret little tip about edge positioning this side of your body or posting on your head or?
What I could give you a 3-hour dissertation on all the subtle little things that you can do, how you shift your shoulder, how you shift your hips. We could be here till midnight, but the best thing to do is get out and do it. Feel it for yourself, experiment, and go, okay, if I shift this way, I think I feel I move a little bit better. So it just takes working it, doing it, practicing, and feel for yourself what works best for you. Because what works best for you probably won't work the same way for Joe as it does for Belinda. Okay?
And it also depends the size of your attack.
Exactly. And how well does he have the hole set? So many different factors involved. You just got to do it. And the more you do it, the more feel you get for how to do it best for you. Plus, say, because you've done it so many times, you start to do it one way and you go, oh, I feel this isn't quite right. And then you know how to adjust for it. So, oh, I know if I shift this way a little bit more, I can make that work better. So it just takes work and practice to do it. Okay? The same exact principle applies on a shoulder lock. So Byron here. So elbow lock, what do we do to prevent it or to get out of it? Forward roll. Same thing. Somebody's coming in here for a shoulder lock. Forward roll. Same thing. Same thing. Roll, and you're out of it. Okay? If you can grab a hold of him and do something with it, great. So it doesn't matter whether it's standing. Okay? And I get him down to the knees. Okay? Or even if I get him all the way to the ground. Okay, all the way to the ground, face down. Shoot through, roll out of it, forward roll. Okay? So we don't have time to go into it. We need to move on. So I get a couple more things covered before we run out of time. Okay. Other thing is, that was the direction. That's the direction that you're going. Okay? He's trying to take you forward. You just go with it. Go with the flow. That's the Ju in Jiu-Jitsu, right? Go with the flow. Okay? What if you're going the other way? Inspiring again. Okay? So we know if we're going forward, go for the forward roll. What if we're going backwards? Backward. Why am I here? You already know all this stuff. Okay?
You're just reminding us.
Okay, so he gets your wrist, he's bending it back. Okay, look at that. You just do your backward roll and you're out of it. Okay? Rear shoulder lock. Oh, look at that. I missed it. Okay? Backward roll. Okay, so I want you to try both of those with a hand throw and with shoulder lock. Just simply go ahead, take the full and just do a back roll. and you're out of it. Okay, so try both of those right quick, and I'll show you. You can't do a back fall fast enough to keep that shoulder from separated. But let's go back to the beginning. How did I end up like this? Okay, is there something that you could have done? You were talking, this was just a classroom situation.
This was a knee dent test.
Right.
So I let him,
Yeah, so you were there.
Yeah.
But in real life, would you have ever let somebody get your arm? As soon as they grabbed you, would have done something else to prevent getting to that position.
Right.
I'm just talking about worst case scenario where you just totally lost concentration. I'll just give you an instance. You just get absolutely sucker punched. You don't see it. Boom! Your head is so fuzzy that he's got, a couple of seconds to do pretty much whatever he wants to. And by the time you've shaken off the stars, you've already got this arm behind you. Again, it could happen, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to do something to prevent ever getting that far. So I was just saying, worst case scenario, the best thing you can do is just go with the flow, take the fall, and then do what you can to prevent it going any further into a true submission where he's got you down on the ground and ready to finish you off. Okay? All right, a couple of quick things right quick because we're running out of time. It's okay if we go 10 minutes over?
It's up to them.
Yeah, okay. Okay. All right. We talked about elbow locks. An elbow lock is nothing more than an arm bar with downward pressure. Okay? And an arm bar is nothing more than an elbow lock with upward pressure. Okay? So he gets a standing arm bar on me. Okay? I got to get this pressure off this elbow before. Again, how did I let myself get here? I was dumb. But if it gets this far and he's able to get something like this on me, okay, the only danger is the upward pressure on the elbow. If I can prevent upward pressure on the elbow, then he's got nothing. Okay. Okay. Wow. Just remove the pressure. Move where the pressure is. Okay. From here. Okay. I simply grab, pull, and shoot the arm through. Okay? There's no more pressure on the elbow, you're out of it. Okay? Yeah, and you got any number of things you can do, but that lends itself for a very nice shoulder lock takedown. Okay? So let's try that a few times. Again, you've got an arm bar, grab, pull, and push. Pull here, push here. And I'm out of it. Okay? Whatever I want to do from that point. Okay, so countering an arm bar, but it doesn't, because what did he have to, he's got to get his arm around your outstretched arm. He's got to get this one on top. He's got to get this one in here and set. It takes time to set up an arm bar. Okay, any point along the way, you could have done a lot of things. You could have grabbed fingers, you could have kicked, you could have spit in his face. Any number of things that you could have done to prevent that arm bar from getting set. But if it gets that far, here you've got something you can do. And that one works on the ground just as well as it does standing. Pull him to you, shoot the arm through, and he no longer has an arm bar. Okay, so we're going to go about 10 more minutes, so we're going to get just a couple more things on wrist locks. I'll use good. Again, in Jiu-Jitsu, if we can do submissions, the idea is we're using an element of surprise. They're not going to know how to get out of it unless they just happen to guess right. And that's what I was talking about. If you understand what the counter is, then you know where the holes are and you can begin to plug those holes. So one of the most basic submissions on the ground is just a simple wrist press. Okay? So I take someone who has no training, no idea. I put him down here and I've got a wrist press and he's ready to tap. He's like, oh no, you're breaking my and breaking my wrist, and he's ready to give up, okay? But someone who's not quite ready to give up, if he struggles a little bit, he'll be able to find a way out of that. And this one's really easy to get out of, okay? If all you're doing is coming in here and doing a press. No, not even that, okay?
Roll in.
Okay, go ahead and set it, let's turn this way so they can see what's going on. Doesn't do any good if you can't see, okay? Do a wrist press. Do a wrist press. Do a wrist press, come on. Wrist press. Oh, good wrist press, okay? All you gotta do is move your elbow. There's no way to get a wrist press, okay? So if somebody tries to do that to you, what do? Just move you can pull it up, you can pull it down. Pulling down is easier and you'll have more options to do, so a little bit more comfortable. So just pull it down into you and you're out of a wrist press. So what did I say at the beginning? Why do we learn counters? Mainly to learn where the holes are. So if he knows that the quickest way out of a wrist press is to be able to move the elbow either this way or this way, what can he do to prevent that from happening? There you go. There you go. Now you know how to set a better wrist lock, okay? And it could be here with the elbow between the knees, or he could be turned where one knee is on the upper arm so it can't move, okay? That works too. Yeah, that works too. So by isolating the upper arm so the elbow can't move, you've learned how to make a better wrist press submission, okay? All right, so last one before we go. Well, let me do this right quick, okay? We've done a lot of stuff, so far, has anybody thought of something that they would really like to see? So we give one option.
I don't know if you taught this yesterday because I wasn't here, but did you teach how to get out of an arm bar as they're coming down and locking the arm, how to prevent that?
Get out of a what?
Arm bar.
Reclining arm bar.
Did you show that yesterday?
No, we didn't do any joint locks. We didn't do any joint locks. So a reclining arm bar, similar to
that's a common thing in the street is people try to get you into that arm bar.
Yeah, and this is the same thing. It's about the elbow because it's still an elbow, so it's about the elbow. If you can prevent the pressure on the elbow, you can get out of it. So you can move it in a lot of different ways. So if you see him coming down for this, the idea is don't let that arm get straight. Bend the elbow either in or bend it out. Okay. The other thing you can do is if he does start to get that back and get it set, simply
roll out of it.
Roll out of it. Okay. So what we talk rolls, everything, all of those things are good. So he starts to go in and try to set a reclining arm bar. If you can get the arm bent in, don't try to bend it this way because he'll overpower you and he'll just pull it back and you will lose. So don't just try to bend it this way. You want to bend it either this way or this way. Okay, and then he can't get that set. Okay, if he does get it bent back, then you can't allow that to happen. So what I need to do is see how his feet are basically, and I'm perpendicular to him, so I need to align my feet with his feet. I need to become in line with him.
Much harder to hold on to.
Right. Okay. So that's a couple. There's probably others.
There was another one that I was thinking about. Is the one you were saying, don't do this. If you rolled into him and pulled your elbow to the ground, it does the same effect.
Yeah. So as he's going back, I come up. Right. Yeah, that's another way to deal with it. So there are many ways.
That would be a stage 2.
Because the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys are teaching this set from a sitting position when they're in mount. They roll into the arm bar, and that's the typical. That one right there is as they're trying to set it, you roll into it and it comes right back out. But the way you did it works the same way.
I actually like that better. Because rolling.
It's a little tricky. It's like any of them, but it's a little tricky. But again, with some practice, you can figure out how to do it. Okay. Any others, right quick? And I'll show one more.
About the big guy who you went to shoot in and he basically sat down on you and he's basically leaning on you on the ground. Got you wrapped.
Show me what you mean.
He splayed out.
Yeah.
Well, I've gone in like this, right? He comes straight down.
On you,
He's basically, well, not on top of me there, but you've kind of just got me wrapped up, face down here, laying on me. And shoot your legs back out.
Yeah.
Oh, the question is, why did you let?
Yeah, exactly.
Just saying, if I went for a takedown
Okay.
in a moment of,
Yeah, why would you go for a takedown like that? So it's just not a practical way to take someone, so you should probably never be in that position, as it is. But if you were, okay, I'll let him, what you should never do, okay, go ahead and let him hit that set, okay? Again, it's about, you still got all of this, okay? Out of it, and I'll go bam, 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 until his teeth fall out, okay? Okay? So, oftentimes rolling, okay, remember that, on the ground especially, rolling is your best way.
Would you do that one again, please?
If your torso is parallel to his torso in line, you can roll.
Yeah, and it's very easy.
Easiest thing to do.
It's the easiest thing to do. And I want, it's hard, in that one, it's just kind of, typically, when you're gonna roll on the ground, you don't wanna come up. Typically, when you're on the ground, by coming up, you actually make it harder to do some of the techniques if you come up and then try to roll.
Yeah, but
So in most cases, here, but on here, what I need to do is I need to get some space. Okay, I need to get his body off from a very solid position. So here, I need to get up so I can move these elbows. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I need to create some space so I can move these elbows. So that's why I need to come up, create enough space where I can pull this elbow in and roll it.
So you're knocking that elbow out.
Yeah, I gotta move that elbow, because that planted elbow will prevent me from rolling. So I have to make it move, so that,
Makes good sense.
okay? You might wanna ask me where I learned that technique?
Where'd you learn that technique?
Huh?
Where'd you learn that technique?
I just made it up right then.
You learned it here.
Okay, right quick, because the common one is everybody wants to know how to get out of a figure four wrist lock. Okay, so again, you should never get into a figure four wrist lock. Okay, but if you do,
Are you talking about this?
no, just your figure four, fold it over.
Oh, this one, right.
Okay, figure four. Okay, what do you do for a figure four wrist lock? Okay, okay. My Kaiser Permanente account number is 178. Okay, so maybe we can get that rest. Okay, okay. Again, it's about rolling. Number one, there's two different ways that you can do this. Okay, because often he's going to be pulling up and leaning back on that. The thing is, I just go with it. He pulls and leans back. I just accentuate it. He wants to go back. I'll go back. He lifts. I'm out. Okay, the other thing I can do is, at the point just before that, which is even better, notice as he's trying to set that up, he's got to lean forward. Okay. So one more time. So either way, once he gets it set, or when he starts to set it and goes back, you can go with him, or as he's starting to come in, as he's leaning forward, just come up, get the head, and again, roll. Okay?
That's why you gotta keep your back straight.
Yeah.
posture.
Exactly. Okay, so we'll try those and we'll wrap it up. So either way, as you feel him start to lift and set it, you go into him. As you feel him leaning forward to set it up, then you take him that way. Whichever way he's going, that's the way you go. If you do that, he'll never be able to get it set. Okay, so let's try those before we to countering submissions. Your best counter to a submission is don't get put into the submission in the first place. And it's easy to do. Use everything else you've learned about Jiu-Jitsu to deal with that wrist grab where he's trying to set your shoulder lock or arm bar or whatever. Use the things you already know how to do and prevent the situation going as far as a submission. But if worst comes to worst and you get put in a submission, again, your rolls, your break falls are going to save you in a lot of situations, from throws, from joint locks. So just remember that. Remember the concepts. Remember the concept of Jiu-Jitsu, the blending of circular circles and angles. It's all about circles and angles. And if you just remember the concepts, you can usually figure it out on your own. Okay? And that's where you want to. That's where you want to get. Like I said, that technique I showed you, I just made it up right there on the spot. All I did was use the concepts, the same concepts that we use day in and day out. I just simply look at it and go, oh, look what I've got to work with. Apply the principles. There you go. You've got your technique. Okay?
Hey.